include Muscle Shoals, Russellville, Tuscumbia, Bolton, Down Creek, Libreville, Layton, Cortland, and North Cortland. For your protection, move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a building. Continuous cloud-to-ground lightning is occurring with these storms. Move indoors immediately. Lightning is one of nature's leading killers. Remember, if you can hear thunder, you are close enough to be struck by lightning. Repeating, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued until 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for the following counties in Alabama: Hoover, Franklin, and Lawrence.
But also have to pay attention to, like, General Nolan reporting the very heavy rain associated with this line of storms tracking.
Didn't hear that. That was a severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Colbert County, and of course the rest. If I can pop it up on here. Hopefully it'll pop up. It should. Come on, pull it up. Forget it. He wants to be slow. I tell you what, this is what I'm gonna do. I'll just read the information to you. Again, like I was right before I started this video, weather radar started going off for the severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Colbert County. Of course, that's in northwest Alabama, eastern Franklin County, and northwestern eastern Franklin County and northwest Alabama, of course, and Lawrence County and northwest Alabama until 6 p.m. And at 5:29, that's 5:33. Severe thunderstorms were located along the line extending from near Louisville to near Russellville. Phil Campbell moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. And the hazard 60 mile per hour wind gust. Source radar indicated impact. Expect damage to the roof, siding, and trees. And the locations impacted, of course, would be Muscle Shoals, Russellville, Tuscumbia, Moulton, Phil Campbell, Town Creek, Littleville, and Layton, and Cortland, North Cortland. So that's the situation right now, and everybody needs to be inside. Everybody needs to be inside right now. And don't be out there. It's not a tornado warning, it's a severe thunderstorm warning, but doesn't matter. It's a serious situation. A very serious situation. And you gotta take it seriously. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning is in place till 6 p.m. It's now 5:35. See what I can do. I'll pull the live stream from 48 back on here in just a few minutes. You can hear the thunder off in the distance, obviously. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to share the link on my... Oops, I did not mean to do that. Hopefully it's working. Yes, it is working. Let's see. That was earlier. Let's see. Oh, just a minute. Let's see. Just make sure I'm not missing anything. No, I'm not. Yeah, I'll probably add to the notes. See what I can do. I don't pull it up very often. Seriously. Let's try it again. See. Whoa, I didn't mean to do that. The rain's really coming down too. Alright, let me put the app up again. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning for southeastern Colbert County and eastern Franklin County and Lawrence County is in place till 6 o'clock p.m. And nobody should be outside right now. Nobody. Absolutely nobody should be outside right now. If you are outside, get inside immediately. Serious business. And there have been reports of tornadoes on the ground. In fact, the one that was on the ground earlier that had parts of Lauderdale County under a tornado warning. Um, it was it had a tornado on the ground, a large multiple vortex tornado on the ground near Burnsville in Mississippi. Uh, I can't remember which county it was, which county Burnsville is in, but all I know it's in northeast Mississippi or North Mississippi rather, and that's of course that's it's moved on into Tennessee. Um, and now what we have going on right now here in Layton and all. Oh boy. Good grief. Okay, that was a little. I'll admit that was a little scary. I'll admit that was a little bit scary. Let's see if they're have the stream on 48 still going on. That was pretty scary. Let's see what's going.
Boutique Air at the Northwest
Not
Outlet
that.
offers friendly service, affordable fares, and daily flights to Nashville and Atlanta. Book flights today at boutiqueair.com. We look forward to having you fly the Shoals. Boutique Air.
The Elk River
There
Bridge
we go.
between Hardy and the bypass in the center of Fayetteville, Tennessee on 231, 431.
All right, keeping that on.
We call it was closed.
So,
It is not closed, and right now I've spoken with PDOT. They have no intentions of closing that bridge, so they just let everybody know that it is open.
Okay, the Huntsville Bridge, the one that's right there on 231, that is just before 64, correct?
Yes, ma'am, they're on the bypass.
Very good. Very quickly, tell me again about any road closures you have there in Lincoln County that people need to know about some of your main thoroughfares.
that one was pretty remarkable. That one was pretty remarkable.
Down to exit 6 in Giles County there on I-65 is completely closed, and there's water across that road in 3 different locations. That is the only major state route right now that has any flooding. We have a few smaller roads out that are close to the Elk River. Fish Hatchery Road, which is on the eastern end of our county, goes down and crosses Elk River just as it enters Lincoln County. We have closed that road.
Is there anything you can share, not only for Lincoln County, but for others, if they absolutely have to get out and about on the roads tonight? What do they need to put in their vehicle?
Well, first,
Just a minute. All right. All right. There's people joining. Um, the reason I'm on here is while there's no tornado warnings going on like there was earlier, um, there are severe thunderstorm warnings in place right now, and
foremost, I would ask that they did not get out. The depth of the water is extremely hard to gauge, and while they may think they can see the yellow line or the white line before they realize it, so if they have to get out, I would just advise them to use very, very extreme caution and pay attention to what's in front of them.
Is darkness going to impede any of your efforts, sir, to get out there and make these evening water rescues?
Yes, it'll definitely play a role in it. It slows us down, twofold, not being able to see any hazards or potential hazards out there. So it makes any rescue just twice as difficult.
How equipped are you to make water rescues?
We have several people in our county with the fire department that are trained in the high water, fast moving
Those winds were pretty rough just a few minutes ago.
We look forward to letting us know when you have those two shelters in Lincoln County up and ready.
Okay,
But
so
to
we got
reiterate,
now.
you're asking anyone who lives along the Elk River or its
Let's see.
tributaries to seek higher ground as soon as possible.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
It's probably just an update on severe thunderstorm warning more than likely.
We thank you, sir, for taking the time to share with us today.
Have a good evening.
You too. Brad?
Liz, to give you a break, we got more flooding issues out there developing. Let's go to first alert 2. We got another tornado warning actually up there in Bolivar, Mississippi, actually in Bolivar, Tennessee, western part. So it may not be over with after this initial line moves through. And I will tell you, this line is ahead of schedule for what we had forecast. And we've got this heavy rain out here. This is likely.
That's what Brad's talking about right now.
Unfortunately, for northeast Alabama. Coming in, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning that continues for Colbert County and Lawrence County, and this is going to continue to track right into the Huntsville metro area and have a big impact in Athens, Decatur, East Limestone. So all that flooding you woke up to this morning, and you woke up to the past morning, you're going to see more of that. So we've got big problems that have been developed here in Limestone County, because of the counties that can't take any more water, we've got Limestone, we've got Franklin, Lawrence, Colbert, and we have Lauderdale. The heaviest rain is falling. Well, we've had nearly 12 inches of rain here over the last week in Lawrence County. It's just, it's going to be bad. I'll tell you that right now. We are looking at serious flash flood threats here across Lawrence County, Limestone County, and eventually back up into northern Madison County, and where we have Jenna Ray up here in Lincoln County, up in Tennessee, along the Elk River. So, again, heed those warnings if you're living on seeing that release from Thames Ford Dam. And then, of course, you have people, you've got rafting and canoe for Elkton, Tennessee. You've got a lot of these places that, you go up there, you rent canoes, and you go down the Elk River. Don't want to be there at all. Some of those places could be underwater.
If you're in the water, get out of
So as
it.
we go down the road here, Tanner 609, Athens 609, Hartselle 610, Elkmont 610, Falkville 611. So that is this area coming into the metro areas pretty much, with the potential for 50 to 60 mile per hour winds and a low wind tornado spin up threat. Here's the warning itself: Town Creek, Hatton, Hillsborough, and Speake, down to Haleyville, some heavier rain. But the next warning is a tornado warning. This is a really nasty storm. We're going to talk about this right now. A lot of potential for damage with this storm here. So where's it going? Well, it's going to be very close to Smith Lake here over time, and could move into the rest of Coleman County. So a lot of lightning. You notice it.
The only tornado warning in the state right now is in Lamar County.
We still have a lot of lightning, but not near as much lightning as there
That I'm
is
aware
associated with
of.
these stronger, more severe storms down to the south. This is all tracking to the east, northeast. So eventually, you see, there's nothing in Coleman right now. So there's nothing really going to slow this down. We've got that area of heavy rain lifting to the north. The warm front's lifting to the north as well. So our primary threat here for the potential tornadoes and damaging straight line winds, maybe 70 miles an hour, could actually be forming down here on the west side of Smith Lake over the next hour. So here's a look. You can see that it's not as pronounced as it was earlier, but it's this area here coming out south of Vernon, moving towards Fayette, and then eventually towards Jasper, Carbon Hill, Jasper. Here's a look at that track. Takes it up into the south side of Coleman down the road. So we're talking by 7:04, it's making its way to the southwest corner, of Coleman County. Here's the rain that's going on later tonight. This is going to kind of come in. Some of this will recede, and then the heavy rain that's out here to the west will start to move back in. So as Brandon was mentioning earlier, you're not going to be able to get a good view of this line of storm. In fact, it continues to stretch out. So overall, we've got strong gusty winds with this area, but I don't think we have any tornadoes developing in that storm, and it's weakening a bit as it's just kind of, I wouldn't say turn to mush, because it does have some structure to it, but I don't see this being 60 or 70 mile per hour storm here, and any tornado that would spin up in it would likely be a 60 mile an hour type spin up. So again, with that, Eric, have there been any reports from Birmingham out of some of those storms that we're talking about farther to the south?
No, we do have that tornado warning, like you mentioned, much farther south from the Millport to the Vernon area. That's what they're keeping an eye on, some tightening rotation with that storm pushing off to the north and east of Columbus. I will say in Columbus, Mississippi, That had some very impressive rotation with it. We'll likely be getting some storm reports out of that. As far as what we're dealing with, it's going to be more the rain continuing to fall. Moderate to maybe even pockets of heavier rain into northwest Alabama. That's going to continue, and then into northeast Alabama, specifically heading out into DeKalb County here. You can see some heavier rainfall from Geraldine to Crossville, out to Collinsville, moving into Fort Payne, to Rainsville, Sylvania, and even out to Valley Head. You've seen a lot of rain over the past couple of days, and you've got more moderate to heavy rain moving through DeKalb County as we speak. But as far as our watches and warnings for the view, no word yet if this will be extended by the National Weather Service in Huntsville. We checked in with Brandon just a little bit ago, saying winds are picking up, not overly strong, but we have wet soil, and that could make some trees a little more prone to falling. Now, on the southern edge of that, as you head toward Haleyville to Devil Springs, this tracking northeasterly as well, around 50, 55 miles per hour. That's where we're going to start to see some gusty winds as well. Not warned at this time, but know that you've got some pretty heavy rain and potentially some of the stronger winds coming your way. Grayson around 5:57, Moreland 6 o'clock even, Speak around 6:09, and then the Upshaw area at about 6:12. But just the one severe thunderstorm warning, still focusing on what they're reporting as far as rain right now in northwest Alabama. Have we heard anything?
We only heard from Janet, who said, oh my gosh, this rain is the storm's moving in quickly, but
I believe it.
we cut out right before her, before she ended up coming in. Within the last hour, and I saw some very ominous video, and I didn't want to say much until you had a chance to look at it, but if you have a chance.
You know, no reports coming in. Trying to monitor all three chat rooms here, Huntsville, Birmingham, and Memphis, as these storm reports continue to trickle in. Most of them usually a little bit dated because people take shelter as the storm moves through and then go out and survey the damage after the fact. We did have some tornado warnings earlier for Coleman, Morgan County, and then the one for far western of Lauderdale County. Right now, no threat. Even just looking at some of the velocities here, we're actually starting to see some of these wind gusts dying down a little far from the radar there, coming out of Columbus, Mississippi, so it's hard to tell. Shear, we do have some areas of shear northeast of the Cortland area out to Hillsborough, too, about to hop over the Tennessee River. That is our severe thunderstorm warning right now. That's all we have as far as warnings go. We still have that tornado watch. That goes until 10 o'clock. But looking at the current situation, what we're dealing with, I wouldn't be surprised if they start dropping the tornado watch for at least portions of Mississippi as the storms continue to move through. Now, the reason these storms started firing up earlier than what we thought initially, and that's because these storms were riding the warm front. When they're riding on boundaries, such as a warm front, you start to see some of that rapid intensification of the cell. And we had a few cells pop up and intensify quickly, not necessarily in the form of electricity and lightning coming out of them, but they did start to produce more rotation quickly and then kind of start to fizzle for a bit.
But these came in early. Does that mean that this is the one and done, or will there be some more coming after this a bit
I
later?
won't say we are completely out of the woods. I won't go that far, but it is a good thing, Liz, that we are kind of working the atmosphere over right now. We've also, the sun is starting to set too. We're using up a lot of that moisture. The sun's setting. The atmosphere is starting to stabilize just a little bit more. Not completely out of the woods for a severe threat. I think we could see some additional rounds of moderate to heavy rain, maybe some brief gusty winds forming behind this, but the main event kind of pushing through right now. We've got a lot of active weather to our south, moving through central Alabama. We've got tornado warnings there. Moving into the Fayette area, south of Vernon, into the Winfield area as well. For us, just hanging on to this one severe thunderstorm warning. You've got another 7 minutes on that. And just in from the National Weather Service, they're going to let that expire in the next couple of minutes. So we're seeing a weakening of that line. Now, south of that, from Haleyville to Devil Springs, seeing some pockets of more
Go at the severe thunderstorm warning for
for
southeastern Colburn and eastern Franklin and Lawrence County. They're going to allow it to expire. So apparently starting to weaken. It's apparently starting to weaken. Starting to weaken.
In front of it, and that's kind of doing us a favor as far as the rest of your Saturday evening goes. The severe thunderstorm warning right now for Lawrence and Colbert County will be allowed to expire. Still going to be tracking some stronger storms farther to our south into central Alabama, out into DeKalb County. Moderate to heavy rain from Fife to Fort Payne to Geraldine, out to Collinsville. Rain showers will continue. We've seen flooding over the past couple of days. Very, very heavy rain, 6 inches to even upwards of a foot into northwest Alabama. So no, we've got closed roadways. We are continuing to monitor the flooding threat as we head through the rest of this Saturday evening. That's really what we're going to start focusing on, though. Some non-storm related wind gusts over 40 miles per hour still possible. We've got saturated soils, trees can fall. We can start to see some power outages. But for now, moderate to heavy rain, the severe thunderstorm warning going to expire. DeKalb County right now, and even in Jackson County, continuing to track moderate to heavy rain there. We're going to check in with our reporters here in a little bit. Hopefully get some word from Brandon. The severe thunderstorm warning now dropped for Colbert, still hanging on. Oh, and for Lawrence too. So that will disappear here in the next couple of minutes. Storm reports have been slow to come in this evening.
But you know what? We do have some road closures. You talked about the Colbert County due to a mudslide at the top of the mountain at Wheeler Mountain, which is at Frankfort Road in Tuscumbia. That is going to be closed at the top of that mountain until further notice. Again, that is at the top of Wheeler Mountain in Tuscumbia.
One of my coworkers was
Eric,
talking to me about that earlier today at work.
DeKalb County. I don't know what's happening, but it did remind me to touch base and mention about that rescue. You know, last night we talked about the Bucks Pocket rescue. Just to bring you up to speed, DeKalb County, Jackson County, they have called off the search for that one lone passenger in that car that went over into the water there, the floodwaters at Bucks Pocket. Jackson County Sheriff's Office, as well as DeKalb County, today posted on its Facebook pages that they called off the search today. They did rescue 2 people last night. However, they are still looking for a 3rd person today. But it was called off. We checked with our Stephen McLam in the Sound Mountain area. They were going to assess today what their next moves were going to be, but we have not heard on what their next message was going to be.
All right, let's go to our first alert live Doppler radar, kind of summarize things. The tornado warning is kind of shrinking down there to the south, and overall we're really looking at heavy rain. Even that circulation to the south may be evolving into just very heavy rain. While that sounds better than tornadoes and winds at 70 miles an hour, but we've got flooding issues. Just got a report that I believe it's Highway 101 north of Town Creek, and that's as you go up towards Wheeler Dam, I believe. That is closed. It's covered with water.
Oh my goodness.
Today in Lawrence County, and the water is so close to the roads.
Tornado warning for Fayette County
Closed as you get
till 7 p.m.
Extremely heavy rainfall, intense lightning. It really picks up. The lightning picks up when you get from Moulton to the south down into the Bankhead
That's
National
pretty
Forest, and all
remarkable.
this is slowly pushing off. One other thing you'll notice here is there's kind of a V shape here. As you take a look at that's upper level winds coming across the area, and what that does is they're probably spreading out in the upper levels, and that's causing all this air to rise fairly rapidly, and that's what's also making this a little bit more linear out there, so creating this flash flood threat. And the threat for flash flooding is high. Looking at some possible development behind this main line, but I really think most of the energy is going to be taken out of the atmosphere by this line, but it's not to say we won't have anything behind this that could pop up and become severe. So overall,
Gotta keep an eye on that.
Let me read this here. Okay. Nope. Ariel. Let's go to First Alert 2, and we'll kind of go through images here. Again, this is that old warning that Eric was mentioning has expired, so some good news there. And as we go down the line here, we're going to see very intense rainfall,
There we go.
significant lightning, going to cause more flooding problems up here into Lawrence County and Western Morgan County. And farther to the east, we're just seeing some heavy rain. Not much lightning either. This is all tracking to the north, but it's also tracking to the east. But there is some new development back here, as I was mentioning earlier. We'll have to watch these areas here down towards Houston and northeastern Tupelo, just south of Red Bay. We'll see the trend here. If these start to pop back up, that's when we know the atmosphere is still capable of producing severe weather, because there's still enough shear out there to keep these things
So
going.
keep an eye on that.
Or is just going to converge into another line here. You see this back here, the west of Starkville, this heavy rain, this training pattern that we've seen so present here as of late. As far as tornado circulations, there's still one with this storm. Very ominous storm there. And again, that's west of Fayette. And that's going to continue to track off to the east. So we'll watch this storm here.
Heavy precipitation has been detected near your location.
Take that one right
That
there.
was from JP Dice on WBRC in Birmingham.
This area right here, going to continue that to the northeast. So this one has more of an impact here towards Carbon Hill, town of Kansas. We've been there, Liz. 631 and Townley area, 635.
Nice place, I'm sure.
That track
There's no doubt about
south of
that.
Smith Lake and on into Coleman County. So it's about an hour or so away. Continue to watch that. So right now, the tornado threat and the strongest storm comes out of the viewing area on the north and east. Keep an eye on Fort Payne down to Collinsville. And it is dark out there now, so you're not going to see a lot of the storm approach. And there's not a lot of lightning out here with this storm activity over in Fort Payne down to Collinsville either. And I believe Liz is getting ready. We've got some new images again. Flooding is going to be the biggest issue over the next 48 hours. And you got river flooding. The sun's coming back tomorrow morning, though. So I don't want to be all negative here. The sun's coming out tomorrow, and it's going to be out for a few days. So it's going to be a really nice day tomorrow overall. Again,
Thank the Lord for
right
that.
now, we're on our 6 o'clock newscast, so we are not preempting anything but so we're going to continue to be continuous through at least 6:30, unless we get more development on the southern edge. That's when we'll leave the continuous coverage. But overall, we continue to watch areas over here in and around Collinsville, Fort Payne. This is just very heavy rain that's going on, and the Wills Valley area between Rainsville and Fort Payne, and that's where you have the Wills Valley, and that's where you have all this water that kind of drains down there. You haven't had as much rain, but you still have plenty of rain, about 4 inches to 5 inches of rain over the last week. So flash flooding could be a problem there as well. And overall, no new additional warnings. Okay, this one new report here. Trees reported down on Osborne Hill Road and Vandiver Hollow Road in Colbert County. So
Oh boy.
that storm moved through a long time ago. So these are the kind of the reports we're going to get. See, this is Colbert County right in here, and the leading edge of that storm is in Trinity now, out towards Coxie and Athens.
So this
very
storm's had
heavy
a
rain
history of
in
producing
Limestone County.
damage.
So if you're in Limestone County, out in the county, I would stay home.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about. Stay off the road.
Stay off the roads.
Because, well, you may have gone out, maybe gone to the grocery store, maybe gone out to lunch, and some of the roads that were barricaded, you're like, oh, why do they have this road barricaded? It's not that bad. That road's probably full of water again, covered with water. And it's not going to be the still water that you've seen in some of our live pictures. You know, you go into the neighborhood, you see the guy on the kayak with his dog. That kind of water, you want to be in a boat or something, but you don't want to be in a kayak in some of these, or anything like that. And if some of you are going to think about doing it, do not do it. Because there's so many things in that water, you have no idea what you're dealing with here. You're thinking, oh, I got a class 5 or class 4. Just don't do it.
No,
Don't even
do
think about it,
not
'cause
do
You're not
that.
only putting your life in jeopody, you're putting your rescuer's life as well.
Yes.
And last night, and after sunset, that's why it's the worst time. If you were out there in the daylight and hey, water's receded, it's not going to take long at all for us to start getting reports from Limestone County Sheriff, Warren County Sheriff, Colbert County, Lauderdale County, even frankly, we have roads underwater again and closed. So again, we have a constant list of information on our First Alert news app. You can get information there. You can find us on Twitter, on Facebook. There's all sorts of information. If you continue to see rising water in your area, and you likely will, you got if it's safe to send some pictures, just use hashtag WAF48. It really helps us tell the story, just like Liz is about to tell you now. That's how we get all those photos there in what we call tag story, is they all go to that one area, and that's the best way to get your photo on the air.
I have a question for you before I go to the tag word and share all of this, Brad. Let's talk for just a minute about, those water rescues. Just a few minutes ago, we saw a water rescue that was going on in the Gurley area. It was involving New Hope Police and Huntsville, Madison County Fire and Rescue. They had to get someone who was out in a kayak. These people, these emergency crews are going to be out not only rescuing people from their homes, but people who are staying there and who are surrounded by flood water. But if you get out and about in it, then you put not only your life, but then the rescuer's life in jeopardy as well. Brad, we talked to the EMA director in Lincoln County a little bit ago. You talked about Limestone County. Don't go out if you're in Limestone County tonight. We talked about how that water coming from Timms Ford along the Elk River. Ground zero right now is Fayetteville, but the Elk River travels all the way down to Lucy's Branch. How long will those 8 million gallons hold? What's the time frame? Any
There's
idea
damage
how long
confirmed in
they can start
downtown
seeing all that water?
Columbus.
Well, it doesn't take long, that's for sure. Water
Possible or
rivers,
likely
too, by the
tornado
way.
that ripped through there.
We have all that rain coming out of Timms Ford
Goodness
Dam on the Elk
gracious.
River, and then it comes through Fayetteville and drops down towards Elkmont. It's up at the Tennessee River there, just to the west of Athens, actually west of Coxsey too, near Joe Wheeler State Park. It won't take long to get there, and the problem is, it just gets backed up even more. So the flooding increases. All this water's coming down into the Tennessee River when it starts flowing, and it doesn't have anywhere to go. Who we toss it to? Brandon. Let's go to Brandon Spinner in the First Alert Storm Tracker.
The First Alert Storm Tracker. World and Amanda Howard Sotheby's International Realty.
Yeah, Brad, we are on the backside of this wave that just moving Moulton. We are now in Moulton, just north of downtown. And boy, that rain really has picked up. Visibility very poor. And as you were mentioning earlier, the lightning was intensifying just towards our south, towards the Bankhead. You could really see that flashing. We get waves of heavy rain here where the visibility pretty much gets down to zero at times. And the wind has been pretty gusty as well. The temperature's still into the 60s. There hasn't been too much of a drastic job temperature-wise. There you go. You see the waves of rain on the ground there on the road, and we're seeing those flashes of lightning, rumbles of thunder. The good news, haven't seen anything over roadways, whether that's flooding or trees, but the lightning has definitely intensified with this wave as it continues east. We're going to keep trailing this here on Highway 24 as it presses closer to I-65. That would be taking it towards the Decatur, Ficeville, Hartselle area, even Mooresville, and the Triana area. So we'll keep on the back side of this where the wind is strong. Impacted it earlier, we guys lost us. I would say we had about 45, 50 mile per hour gusts that were shaking the car quite a bit. At this point, just heavy rain to report, ponding on the roadways. Definitely need to slow down if you are going to be out in this, especially in a high profile vehicle, because we're in here in an Equinox, which isn't too big, but if you're in a van, if you're in a truck, if you're in a semi, those winds are really going to cause an issue out here. And the visibility is poor, so take it very slow if you must be on the roads. As you mentioned, hard to see anything cloud-wise, so you're not going to see the formations of anything, and it's just a lot of water on top of the water we've already seen over the last 5 days talking about the flooding. So we're going to continue east here on Highway 24. We are now just north of Moulton. Trail this just to the west of that line and see if we can come across anything of significance. But at this point, just heavy rain, winds, and quite a bit of lightning. Remember, when thunder roars, go indoors. We're just going to trail this east, and we'll get back to you if we find anything.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brandon. 24 is probably the better bet there between Moulton and Decatur, because you get farther to the north, to say 157 to the north up towards Hillsboro. That's where you're going to start to run into some there, up towards Town Creek, issues here with water just over the roadways. So, and that's why Liz and I have been talking about just stay off the roads in some of those county areas out there. It's the main highways in some cases are okay, but some of them are starting to close. They're getting covered, and Eric's kind of looking back here to the west. We still have this heavy rain on the backside, and the tornado warnings continue down here for Winfield, and this will be the area moving towards Carbon Hill. We've been talking about this for a while. We'll have to keep an eye on it. You just kind of see that notch down there. That's that hook. Wow. It just continues to cycle through. That actually had it looked like a debris ball almost coming through there. Could you show me there you go. And that may be tornado debris right there. We're going to loop that and see if it still shows it. Again, it's that blue area.
I'm going to try and slow that down.
You know, if you walk it back, walk it back step by step, because that loop just goes too fast. Take the slider bar and just kind of go back. Right there. Yep. So go forward. That is tornado debris right there. So it looks like a confirmed tornado on radar with this storm here. And this is Fayette. This is outside of the viewing area. Get up here into Walker County and Carbon Hill. You've had a history with tornadoes in the past. And it's maybe even two of them. May have actually one circulation here south of Highway 18. Boy, that's strong rotation there. And then another one up here to the north. So Again, it's just out of the viewing area, something we're keeping an eye on, hoping it stays to the south of us. But these are the storms down there that are the strongest, and we just have very heavy rain across the area. And don't think it's over with in Florence up here, because as far as rain goes, there could be another heavy round of rain ahead of that front. Because the front, I don't even think the front's made it to the Mississippi River yet. It's going to continue to track to the east, but it will accelerate. So this won't last as long. It won't be an overnight rain, and all the rain should be out here by about 10 o'clock tonight, so about 4 more hours. Let's go over to Liz Hurley, who's got more information on some of your pictures.
That's right, Brad. Real quick, what's the trajectory if those storms to our southwest hold together? Where would those project?
Coleman County, then on into Marshall County, Arab, Gunnersville, Albertville. So we'll watch those areas down there to the south, and maybe even clipping the southern part of Morgan County. But there's a long way to go before that even makes it here.
It's moving northeast at 55 miles per hour, but that, of course, is banking on it's going to continue to move it at 55 miles per hour. But definitely some stuff showing up on radar that it's worth noting. We're keeping our eye on it, and also seeing some of those storms on the backside of this wave of rain and storm moving through, developing. So if the atmosphere still has enough shear, still unstable enough, we could see some of those storms continuing to track off to the north and east. So that's what we're tracking right now on radar. Liz, what do you got for us?
We have been inside all afternoon, guys, but outside, darkness has already fallen. And right now, our Jenna Ray is not only in darkness, but she is standing in a whole lot of water in Lincoln County, Tennessee. Jenna, where are you, and what is the status right now of things in Fayetteville in Lincoln County?
Liz, I am on just west, of Highway 431, and I'm on Highway 64 now, still in Fayetteville, still in Lincoln County. And let me give you some perspective. Like you said, darkness has fallen. I wish you could see what was behind me. I'm standing just north of the Elk River. Behind me is a baseball park that is completely submerged by that river. It's really insane. I'm going to try and take a picture, and hopefully you guys can use it on air, because it's just way too dark out here for you guys to see. Again, I'm at Don Davidson Park in Fayetteville. A couple hours ago, when we were coming in, temperatures were almost in the 70s. It was kind of a nice day. The wind was pretty still, no rain. Now it has completely changed. The temperatures have dropped. As you can see, the rain is falling. It is very windy out here. I had to put another layer on because it's really, the temperature is dropping that quickly. I've been told by Brad and the rest of the weather team that the rain is going to start falling in Fayetteville. They said 30 minutes, but as you can see, it's coming down right now. I'm guessing it's just going to get more severe from here. And again, rain is hitting Fayetteville and Lincoln County right now. I do want to talk about the downtown area in Fayetteville in the historic district. We were driving through just about 20 minutes ago. Law enforcement has blocked off several roads in downtown. Do not go past those barricades. A lot of portions of the roads are flooded right now, and it's only going to get worse. The Elk River, as I said, I wish you guys could see it because it's rising at an incredibly fast pace. If you are in Lincoln County or in Fayetteville, or really anywhere in the Tennessee Valley, stay inside, find shelter. It's wet, it's windy. It's just, you don't want to be out here. We are seeing less and less cars driving on these roads. The roads are slick. Again, they're flooding. There's barricades up. The one thing I always have to say, turn around, don't drown. I know you've heard it a million times, but really, turn around, don't drown. It only takes 6 inches of water to move your car. That's it, 6 inches. It's not that much. There is feet of water out here. Feet.
Man.
Anyone, it's just not safe for you to be out right now. We'll continue to bring you updates. Again, I'm just west of Highway 231, 431 on Highway 64 in Fayetteville. We'll bring you some more, and I'll throw it back to you, Liz.
Jen, I got a couple questions for you. We talked to Doug Campbell, EMA, there a little while ago. He is in the process right now of opening 2 shelters there in Lincoln County in that area so people can actually leave their homes for higher ground. The area there is already saturated, and now he's saying with 8 million gallons of water being pumped from Tim's Ford down that Elk River area, it is only going to get worse throughout the evening. And they're really suggesting not a mandatory evacuation, but they are gently suggesting that people who live along the Elk River and tributaries, right, to go ahead and leave and go to someone's house.
That's
be the
right,
right
Liz.
call.
We've seen the emergency management team driving around here with law enforcement, fire and rescues out here, the sheriff's department, and Fayetteville police. Again, these conditions are not necessarily safe for anyone. There is a lot of low ground and a lot of tidal areas in Fayetteville and in Lincoln County. So if you're in one of those areas, if you are in one of those flooding areas. So if you know, again, look at those shelters. I'm sure we have them online. I will try and get addresses and phone numbers to those shelters to let you know exactly where they are. And again, Liz, I don't think that's a bad idea for people to go ahead and look at those shelters, especially if they're in a flooded area.
That's right. Very good advice out there. But again, only try to get there if you know that the road is clear. It may be safer to stay in your house, but certainly, you might call the authorities to ask further information about that. Jenna Ray, stay safe. We'll check back with you in a little while from Lincoln County, Tennessee. Now let's go across our viewing area right now where our Nolan Crane is somewhere in the Muscle Shoals area, also in knee-deep water. Where are you, Nolan, and what's happening where you are?
Liz, I'm currently near McFarland Park, and this is as close as you can get to McFarland Park. I talked to the main director, and he says this flooding is, quote, catastrophic. Look at this business right here. More than a foot deep, but there's no way you can enter through those doors. You can't even get into the parking lot. It is a dish. If you look over off to the side, you'll see some crews. They are putting up caution tape, and they're trying to shut off the roads to make sure everyone will stay safe. Catastrophic flooding. Those are the words from the EMA director here in the Muscle Shoals talking about McFarland Park. And of course, it's also a result of all the rain that floods into the Tennessee River into this area. About 30 minutes ago, thunder, lightning, downpour. Definitely a dangerous situation to be in. So we had to go inside where it was safe. And then now the rain has stopped a little bit. And seeing the rain stop is definitely good news for all of the homeowners and everybody else who have their concerns about the flooding that is currently in place. An hour ago, I was over in the Roosevelt neighborhood, and over there, it is not a flood zone. The people there say they've lived there for 30 years, some of the families, and they say this was the first time they have ever seen flooding, and they saw it in a big degree. Mailboxes completely submerged, fire hydrants submerged. We even spoke with one man. He was a kayaker because he wanted to go check on his dog, and that was the only way he could do it in a safe way. He says he has 2 cars in his garage. He doesn't know if they're totaled. He doesn't know how much damage will be done, but as the rain continues to come down, we all know that the situation is only unfortunately going to get worse. But when you see a break in the skies, that's definitely, some say, answered prayers. But so we've been over there in the Muscle Shoals. There was also some talks of a potential tornado. The EMA director says that tornado never made landfall, and as a result, there are currently no downed trees. So definitely some more good news, because flooding, tornadoes, definitely a disaster, definitely a recipe that people do not want to see. But once again, just kind of, it may be dark, it may be hard to kind of see, but look at all of this water. Literally, you could go knee deep. I could be up into my waist if I was wearing the proper materials. And I heard Jenna Ray mention it several times, and I want to echo the same from the safety officials. If you do not have to be out here, don't. There's no reason to risk it. There are several road closures here in the Shoals and all across the Tennessee Valley. And in order to be safe, simply stay home if you can. But if you do live in an area where it is not safe, where there's already flooding, evacuate. Voluntary evacuation. They have the community center here in the Muscle Shoals that is open. Several churches have also opened up their doors and their chapels and their sanctuaries to try to keep people safe. And not only safe, not only warm, several church members are also feeding people meals since they can't be in their home, or they shouldn't be in their home. So if you find yourself in an area where your neighbors are flooded, don't necessarily sit at home thinking you were the lucky one. Be safe. That is what the EMA directors want everyone to know. Be safe. Take the precaution if you don't have to be on the roads. But once again, in their words, catastrophic, historic flooding here at McFarland Park, and that is a result of the several feet that has fallen and flooded and crest over the Tennessee River. Thunder and lightning is what we saw about 30 minutes ago. Right now, thankfully, skies look pretty good. No need for an umbrella, no need for the hood. So if it stays like this, that'll definitely be good as they continue continue to try to pump water out of these areas that are highly flooded. And they are working as fast as they can. I spoke with several homeowners, and they say they're not working fast enough. But of course, that's what people are going to feel when they see standing water near their doorstep. But the emergency crews say they're pumping thousands of gallons out of these ponds, out of these heavy polluted and highly rising waters, that they're doing the best that they can. So it's only going to take time. And once again, if you do not have to be out, simply stay inside. Reporting live in the Muscle Shoals, Nolan Crane, WAFF 48 News.
Hey, Nolan, you have been in Culver County. You're now in Lauderdale County. You talk about the depth of the water. Let's talk about the other dangers involved in that water. Let's talk about the debris. What are you seeing in that water? We've talked about the dangers of trees and limbs and all sorts of things that are coming from the environment, glass and bottles. What do you see right there in Lauderdale County?
Well, definitely you can see the leaves, you can see the branches, you can see the stems, you can see it's even floating up to the surface as we get a closer look right there. And what's even underneath the water, like, you really don't even want to put your hand in there to find out, if to be honest. I know a lot of times when there is flooding, and we're talking even sewers that crest over, you can only imagine what really is in some of this standing water. But as we did mention as well, those tornadoes, the EMA director here says it did not make landfall, so the number of branches definitely limited, but this water surely is not sanitary. So once again, don't wade in it if you don't have to. We did talk to that kayaker. He said he wanted to let his dog out to make sure his dog was safe. So maybe there's some excuses that some people can make for why they think it's kind of a cool experience, but you really don't know what's in this water but the leaves, the trees, gunk. This water is not blue. This water is not like a beach. This water is not clear. So really you should just kind of, take a couple steps back out.
That's right. Sewage, snakes, no telling what's in that water, so stay safe. Thank you, Nolan. We're going to check back with you in a few minutes. Let's take a look at what you have been sending us. You, again, are our eyes and ears out in the field today, telling this story of the floodwaters of the weather. Our Elizabeth Gentle has shared this now from the Sheffield Police Department. It's really across the water from where Nolan is right now. That's why I wanted to share it with you. This is from Sheffield Police, warning the general public to stay away from the Cliff Haven area. If you know where you are in McFarland Park, you look across the water, and there it is. Take a look at what used to be that road. It is literally washed away. So that's the warning from Sheffield Police. A partial slide there in that area of Cliff Haven. Now, we have some more video showing us a lot of water in Muscle Shoals. That is where Nolan was just a little bit ago. And we have so much to share with you today. We've got Jackson County. Here we go. We have got 72 and County Road 75 in Bridgeport. Again, that was earlier today, but it kind of gives you a bird's eye view, an aerial view of just what the water looked like today, which was almost 7 hours ago. You can imagine after further rain this afternoon, it's just an inundated area of North Alabama, totally saturated here. Let's see what else we've got in Newmarket. Again, look at that water right there crossing the road. Please avoid this area in Langston, County Road 38, Langston Gap. That's from Macedonia to Langston. Excessive rain. Look at what it has done. It has literally caused the roadway to separate, to actually come apart in the middle, slip and crack. Public Works has been notified there in Jackson County, so they're working on that, but you might definitely avoid that area. But we talked about the saturation level. These trees are barely hanging on for dear life. This is tree damage from Tuscumbia on Underwood Mountain, and it was sent to us by Joseph McBrayer. We understand right now we have Craig Hill, Madison County Commissioner, joining us now by phone. Commissioner Hill, tell us your area of the county that you're covering and what you're seeing right now at this hour.
In District 3, we have the eastern and southern part of Madison County, which we deal with the Flint River and the Paint Rock River during these events. But right now we're concerned with the information we received earlier today as far as the Tennessee River at Whitesburg and the number of 25 feet of possible crest on the Tennessee River. And with that information, we're concerned with what will occur at Owens Crossroads and on the Hobbs Island Road, and we're in the process of closing Hobbs Island Road right now.
Okay, so I'm listening. You've got a crest 25 feet. What is the water level right now along the Tennessee, along the Whitesburg Bridge area?
Just a little earlier this afternoon, it was about 20.71, the last information we received, but it has been rising since. We've been watching it this afternoon. And then on Hobbs Island Road, at the intersection of Hobbs Island and Hill Road, we've had someone there, our local fire department in New Hope, that's been monitoring it this afternoon. And it is over the road on Hobbs Island at the New Hope end. We've communicated with the City of Huntsville Police Department to let them know what's occurring here. So we hope that with that information, we can get it to you and you can notify the residents in that area that Hobbs Island Road overnight, it probably will be closed for sure tomorrow for a few days.
Okay, very good. So again, that is in the New Hope area off Highway 431 at that intersection at the light there. And that is feeding in actually from Guntersville. A lot of people along the Grant and Guntersville area come that way to get into South Huntsville. Since Cecil Ashburn is closed, that is one of the main thoroughfares. So you're talking about the New Hope area on Hobbs Island all the way down, and it cradles the Tennessee River to the Whitesburg Bridge. Correct, sir?
Yes, it is. And we're going to close it at the intersection of Hobbs Island and Old 431. So there will be a stretch of Old 431 out to 431 that you referred to, the intersection at 431. But we're going to close at the intersection of Old 431 and Hobbs Island. The city of Police is there, and they're going to have someone there. So we encourage motorists, please, to avoid that area.
Give me a visual. Again, it's a two-lane road anyway. Water is covering that road right now?
It is, and that's at the intersection of Hobbs Island and Hill Road, and it is in the last little while it's covered it even more, and it's swifter across Hobbs Island Road. So a small vehicle, we really encourage them not to even consider that. So we're going to close the road and try to keep that back.
I remember a few years back, sir, that there were some horse farms along that area, and a lot of people had to be evacuated by boat. Is that what you're looking at today?
That we feel like from the numbers that we have historically, looking back to the 90 flood, I think it was documented 24.8 feet. So if they're 15, 25 feet, that's a good point for the residents in that area to relate to. So we hope we can get this information early enough that people can prepare and kind of know what we're expecting and with the information that we're being given.
So what do you want to tell the residents along that southeastern area of Madison County?
The water is going to continue to rise. Yeah, it's going to continue to rise. We're looking at 24 to 36 hours probably before a crest, and that's without the rainfall we'll receive tonight. So it's important to stay aware and be aware of what's going on through the media, that we can communicate and keep an eye on the floodwaters if you're in an area that's historically known for floods.
So are you suggesting that they voluntarily evacuate or just stay tuned?
Just stay tuned at this time. The information, EMA has been great getting us information today. They continue to do that. We're relying on them, and the news media has been great to communicate with us as well. So we're giving information that, as we can, to try to make the situation be the best.
Road closures that exist right now?
I'm not aware of any right now. We still have Stone Drive, and we still have Everett Road closed, the eastern side over in the Brownsboro area, around the Flint River area there, and we're expecting considerable flooding in those areas. But Little Cove and Eastern Bypass, I talked to someone from the Gurley Volunteer Fire Department a few minutes ago. They had a rescue there, close to McMullen Road, off of Little Cove, Eastern Bypass, and the water is coming up on Little Cove and Eastern Bypass. So through the night tonight, it's going to continue to rise, and we just need everyone to stay aware.
Okay, so Little Cove may be along the Eastern Bypass. That may be closing too?
Yes, ma'am. We think so. We're keeping an eye on it, and
I'm sorry, sir, can you repeat that one more time? What did you say about Little Cove?
Little Cove and Eastern Bypass, we're expecting the water to rise there as well. It was closed last night for a time, but then it reopened earlier today. But we expect it to close probably overnight. So we'll have it as we can get that information. We'll pass it along.
Okay. once again, that's the Hampton Cove area, the McMullen Cove area, the Gurley area of Madison County, as well as the Hobbs Island, New Hope, Owens Crossroads area. Eastern, southeastern Madison County, be aware tonight, stay tuned for the possibility of multiple road closures there because of the high water. Brad, tell us what's happening now outside.
Let's go to the radar. Here's our first live Doppler radar. I'm going through and I'm building some river flood graphics so we can go through and show you each river across the area that's in flood, how high it's going to go, when we expect it to crest, and what the problems, the impact is going to be from that. I'm going to let Eric here talk about what's going on. We do have some new development here behind this initial line of heavy showers and thunderstorms moving towards Florence.
Yeah, just most of this moderate to even heavy rain right now moving through Madison County into Limestone County too. But you could see on the back side of that, even though, you know, no one was reporting, oh, I don't need my umbrella, I don't need my hood, we are seeing some development on the back side of that. Now, this is going to be a true test of the atmosphere, is whether or not it could sustain it. If we start seeing more of this, that means the atmosphere still capable of producing some not only heavier rain, but maybe some gusty winds to go along with it. Think of how much rain you've seen over the past 5 days, over a foot in some locations in northwest Alabama. The water continues to rise, like Brett mentioned. He's updating our flood graphics.
Severe thunderstorm warning. I believe that's old, though.
That's
See,
old.
It scrolls through, yeah, again.
Yep.
That's the way that thing works.
Just keeps regenerating. We don't have any watches or warning. Well, we do have a tornado watch, so that goes through the 10 o'clock hour. No severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings at this time. Just still tracking that moderate to heavy rain moving through North Alabama. And you can see how widespread it is. Starting to see some drier skies, but also continuing to monitor that redevelopment potentially on the backside of these this initial line of storms that we saw developing a little bit earlier than expected. We saw the storms, the cells individually kind of riding that warm front, and that's where we see that rapid intensification. We saw some areas of rotation. We had into Walker County, and then hopping over the county line into Coleman County. That's when we had our first tornado warning of the day. We had a severe thunderstorm warning move through Morgan County. I know we checked in with meteorologist Brandon Spinner. He was out in the 48 storm tracker reporting some not only heavy rain, but increasing lightning and also some gusty winds. But for now, on First Alert Doppler, continuing to track just the rain showers at this time. Now, going bigger picture here, you can kind of see what's going on farther to our south. If we go over to First Alert 1, that would be appreciated. And we can see we still have a tornado warning here near the Winfield area, just off to the west and southwest of Carbon Hill. So still seeing some rotation with that. That's tracking northeasterly, and the rotation looking a little broad at this time. But we're really tracking this, essentially, and that's going to be the redevelopment on the backside of this main wave. And from Tupelo to Emory to Houston to Eupora, that's where we're seeing the redeveloping rain showers and storms. Right now, no warnings on those, but if we see these sustaining themselves over the next hour or so, that's kind of what we'll be focusing on for the potential of maybe seeing a secondary wave. If anything, though, continuing to track this rain moving in to northeast Alabama. The Red Bay area saw some storms move through earlier on. You've got more rain just off to your west and southwest, and that's what we continue to keep our eyes on here. It's on the back side of that, and then also off to our southwest here near the Winfield area. Still have that tornado warning. National Weather Service in Birmingham keeping that. I just showed you the rotation, kind of pushing off to the Double Springs area. I believe we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, and that would include right here into Morgan, Limestone, and not into Madison County yet, but a new severe thunderstorm warning. Looking at the data here, that will go until the 7 o'clock hour, wind 60 miles per hour, and hail around 3/4 of an inch, and that's for Limestone and Morgan County again until 7 o'clock. So we are seeing this line, what we thought was initially weakening, now continuing to pick up, and that's tracking off to the north and east. As we put a quick cone on this for you, around, we'll go with 50 miles per hour or so northeasterly. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, Brad. It's for Morgan and Limestone here from Decatur to the Priceville area, even out to Hartselle. That's where we're seeing this initial line of potentially gusty winds. 6:35, so you got about a minute or so before we get into the Hartselle area and then out toward Mooresville, Somerville, Madison, 650, and that's if it continues tracking northeasterly around 45, 50 miles per hour. But some very gusty winds. Look at the rain we're seeing with this moderate to heavy rain on top of what we've seen over the past couple of days. It won't take much for the gusty winds to potentially knock down some trees. We're going to go over to Brad Furman.
That storm right now in the First Alert Storm Tracker. Brandon?
The First Alert Storm Tracker, powered by Window World and Amanda Howard Sotheby's International Realty.
Well, hey guys, yeah, we're in southwest Decatur, just past the lows right here along 67, and we're pushing south and east. We are in that severe thunderstorm warning. We aren't really feeling the winds yet, but the rain has continued to stay steady. The thunder and lightning has picked up within the last couple of minutes, but we are right ahead of this wall of wind that's just about to come through southern Decatur at the moment. You can see as we take that camera on top of the First Alert Storm Tracker, rain really coming down pretty heavily, and if we even take the dash cam video, you can see the visibility pretty poor. So the difference between that is you just see a little bit more of that light when it comes to the top camera on the storm tracker, but waves of rain coming through, and we're really starting to feel that wind gust at this point in time, as this is that severe thunderstorm warning that Eric and Brad were talking about. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Haven't felt that yet, but we've definitely seen the heavier rain as this line is now just moving into South Decatur, and it's right about to make the belt line here, as we're just about to the Walmart here, right along the belt line. If you know where we're at here, just to the west of Highway 31, where the visibility is very, very poor. If we hear anything about those winds, we'll give you a report. At this point, I would just say try to stay off the roads because of all that rain that we've been talking about. It's very, very, very slick on the roads. Everybody going very slow, and a lot of cars actually driving with their flashers on. So that's what I have to report for you now. We're going to continue east towards Priceville as that line presses north and east. I think that's where the wind, we might be able to intersect some of the strongest gusts with this. So we'll check back with you in a few minutes and let you know what we've seen. Well, thanks a lot, Brandon. Here's the overview of that storm that he's in, moving into Decatur. Very heavy rain. The lightning's picking up a little bit more, and this is all tracking east-northeast. Additional rain now over Muscle Shoals and out towards Tuscumbia. That'll be a brief round of heavy rain. We'll watch that for any future development down the road as we continue to watch other areas here towards Hamilton. So I think we're going to know here in the next hour or two what's going to happen with everything developing out to the west. Now I want to talk river flooding. I've got all these graphics ready for you now. This is the Elk River at Fayetteville, where they're letting out all this water. Plus, we've had tremendous amounts of rain here over the past few days. And if anything, all these numbers keep going up as far as the forecast goes. Currently, it is at 23 feet here in Fayetteville, and at 23.5 feet, Tennessee Highway 273 is covered with water. At 26 feet, several businesses and homes will be underwater, and it is expected to crest Sunday, so tomorrow morning, early afternoon, right around 25 feet. So Highway 273 is probably being closed. I don't know if we've mentioned that yet or not. It may not be closed at the moment, but another half a foot here, and it will be underwater. The Elk River down the road here, we were talking about that earlier. This will be at Prospect, Tennessee. It is now at 29.3 feet. Flood stage is 22 feet, so it's a good almost 7.5 feet above flood stage. It's expected to crest at 32 feet Sunday afternoon. And at 32 feet, this is important here, if you live up in southern Giles County or even northern Limestone County, at 32 feet, extensive flooding will occur in southeast Giles County and would reach several homes near Elkton and Ardmore. So you may be seeing evacuations in northern Limestone County along the Elk River for this. Again, I want to emphasize this is Prospect, Tennessee, the gauge reading, but this goes into northern Limestone County and is now at 29.3 feet and expected to crest tomorrow. So it's going to rise a good 3 more feet. So if you looked outside your house, you live along the Elk River, you see its current location, add 3 feet at least to that, and that's where it's going to be by tomorrow afternoon. So again, homes near Elkton and Ardmore will be impacted here. Down the road here, Whitesburg River. We were Whitesburg, the location here, just south of Huntsville, Tennessee River. We were talking about this earlier. It's at 20.79 feet now. It's going to go up another 4 to 5 feet Monday, cresting. Major flooding expected at 24 feet.
Again, this is going to be 24.77 feet. At 24 feet, thousands of acres are flooded on both sides of the river. We get homes that are completely underwater and roads flooded. Access problems will develop due to backwater here on the Redstone Arsenal. We're going to talk about the Tennessee River at Florence coming up. Let's go to Liz Hurley now with another update.
We talked about seeking shelter tonight, where you can seek shelter. I talked to the EMA director in Lincoln County a little bit ago, asking if they are pet friendly. Oftentimes, the shelters where residents will travel for shelter are not pet friendly. Or you may live on a farm. You may have horses or cattle. Joining us now is Anthony Wilbank from Colbert County Animal Control. Anthony, what's happening there in Colbert County, and what are you setting up there?
Well, we've got a lot of rain going on, a lot of flooding out over the South Montgomery Stepfield, of course, making the States, Wilson down. What we have is we've set up a animal-friendly emergency shelter at 3701 Hatch Boulevard in Stepfield. So anybody who's having to go to the motels or evacuate, they can bring their animals and drop them with us here at 3701 Hatch. There's no fee, there's no charge. Your animals will be housed and fed, and we'll keep them here at this facility till further notice.
Okay, so let's talk to me about housing and feeding. Should pet owners bring their own food with them, and will you dispense medication?
We will. We've got several volunteers here that help a lot. Our director's on hand. All of our shelter employees are on hand. So medications will be dispensed. We have plenty of crates and kennels for them. We will provide the food. So all we'll need them to do is bring the medication.
What about limitations? Are we only talking about cats and dogs?
At this facility, yes, ma'am. If they become in dire need and we need to move horses, we put them on a pasture out by the animal shelter, which is at 5010 Missouri Street in Tuscumbia. We can probably house 10 or 12 animals, horses there comfortably, and even a few cattle if we need to.
Okay, very good. So that is at least another option for some people there. I'm just wondering if there are people who are really contemplating that right now, leaving their homes and needing to take their animals with them.
Well, we're not sure. We have a total right now at this facility of 7. We got 3 from South Montgomery, and we've got some off 18th Street in Sheffield. So we have we can probably house 40 to 50 animals at this facility comfortably, and we have another one on standby. We just have to make a phone call if we need to open it up.
So you've got room for 40 or 50 more animals right now. You've already taken in animals today?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. We're taking that total of 7, and one mom and some puppies. So we have plenty of room right now.
Very good. Have you talked to compatriots who are over in Lauderdale County or in Franklin County? Anything else in the shoals where people may need to drop their animals off?
No, ma'am. I've heard of nothing, but I do think some other places are trying to open up some stuff. I think Lauderdale's trying to open up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about Franklin.
Okay, so once again, Anthony Wilbank, you have opened up a place where people can drop their cats and dogs, and if need be, farm animals to 3701 Hatch Boulevard in Sheffield, and that will be now until when?
Until further notice. We're going to house them here until Monday or Tuesday if need be. Just folks, because we know even after the rain, there's going to be a lot of cleanup, letting the water go down. So at least till Monday or Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday, and you're open tonight and tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. There'll be somebody here at all times, and even after Monday or Tuesday, if need be, we're going to work with the public, make arrangements. And Rick Elliott and Willie Winkle have been kind enough to donate this facility for us to use to help these animals out. So
that is great. So once again, they need to bring their food, but you have crates and everything else for them.
That is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Anthony Wilbank, Colbert County Animal Control. Again, the shelter there, if you need to drop an animal off and seek shelter, a human shelter, 3701 Hatch Boulevard, Sheffield. Thank you so much. Brad?
Thank you.
Now, looking things over, Liz, let's go to Max 2. I believe that's what I've got everything on. First Alert 2. What we're looking at is very heavy rain, and we're starting to see, I've been looking and chatting with the National Weather Service, and when we talked, I mentioned this on Facebook earlier, and I did a Facebook Live talking about how there's this wedge of cooler and more stable air that's over northeast Alabama. We've got more of an east wind here, and what's happening is this rain is running into that, and it's not budging, so that warm front's not really moving north. And the problem is it creates an environment for this activity to stall, and it actually enhances some of the updraft and the rainfall potential here. So I'm afraid what we're looking at now is going to be thunderstorms training across the same area, and it's going to set up somewhere probably in the Huntsville metro area and out west where we run into the problem with flash flooding. It could become more significant and substantial as we go into the late evening and overnight hours. So something to keep an eye on. We really need that front to come in from the west to shut all this rain off. Now, I mentioned we talk about some of the other river gauges here. Let me go ahead and switch over here. Let's talk about the Tennessee River in Florence. Got a lot. We were talking a lot about this on social media. A lot of posts on this. A lot of businesses are flooded right now in and around the shoals. It's expected to reach. It's approaching major flood now. I think it may actually be there. 28.41 feet. And this is, we're talking a historic crest here. This is, if it reaches 30.33 feet, the highest crest, I think, was 32.5 feet. That was back in like 1897, before we had any dams on the Tennessee River, and there was always a lot of some flooding issues out there. And that was one of the reasons they dammed it up, is to keep the flooding from happening every year. But this is historic here. If we reach 30.33 inches with the crest Sunday, look, it's not quite double the flood stage, but it's extremely high. And this is something that some of you haven't seen in your lifetime. You got to go back, I believe, to the 40s to find a higher flood here. But this will be the highest flood since they've had the dam system in place on the Tennessee River. Widespread flooding, and that's basically from the Whitesburg area on the Tennessee River all the way downstream to Pickwick Lake. Widespread flooding of industries near the river, roughly happening at 30 feet. So it looks like that's going to happen, and this rain we're seeing now doesn't help at all. And all the rain, even in the metro area, it all flows down their way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be raining hard in Florence for that to happen. It's actually the opposite. It's downstream and all the tributaries. Tennessee River at Whitesburg. Again, I wanted to show this graphic again for those that live along the Tennessee River in the Whitesburg area into northern Morgan County and the southern parts of Madison County, and it's down to the Wheeler Wildlife Refuge, so nobody really lives there. But at 24 feet, it's expected to crest to 24.77 feet Monday, so still another 24 hours to watch this thing rise and then some. At 24 feet, thousands of acres are flooded on both sides of the river. I've been here 22 years, and I've never seen it reach 24 feet. So this is historic, folks. Homes are completely underwater on roads that are flooded. Access problems on parts of Redstone Arsenal from the backwater of the Tennessee River. And the Big Nance Creek, we've been talking about that since last week. It's been at major flood stage for a while. It's at 21 feet in Cortland. At the latest observation, flood stage is 14 feet. It's going to 23 feet to crest, and that'll be Sunday afternoon. At 20 feet, we've already reached that. Water's approaching homes on the south side of downtown. Water reaches Old Highway 20 bridge as well, and we're beyond that by at least a foot right now. So again, out there, be careful. Here's the latest on the severe thunderstorm warning. This storm capable of winds around 60 miles per hour, but Brandon Spinner's in that storm right now, has not reported anything, I would say, higher than 40 or 45, but we can still have some trees down with that. You hear it rumbling outside here in Huntsville as well. A lot of lightning as you go down to Hartselle, and a new development back here, but I'm afraid this may just end up being more flooding rain. Who are we going to?
Apparently our producer's saying a lot of people are calling, asking about the Flint River here at Brownsboro. If we go over to First Alert 1 now, that will have the river graphic that I just updated. So the river right now, around 20.5 feet, flood stage being 17 feet, and by tomorrow morning, expecting it to crest out around 23 feet. Just to put this into perspective, around 21 feet, floodwaters will reach a house trailer there, and then 22 feet, we'll start to see floodwaters affecting yards on the right bank of the river. Homes not quite threatened just yet. 23.5 feet, significant flooding occurring between the Flint River and a man-made levee that's created by railroad tracks on the left bank. So right now we've got the Flint River at Brownsboro here in Madison County around 20.5 feet, closer to 6/10 actually. Flood stage is 17 feet. And by tomorrow morning, looking at 23 feet. People wanted an update on that Flint River. I know Brad and I are trying to go through and just update all of these river graphics going on. Another thing we're continuing to monitor here is the training of the storms off to our west. In the Mississippi, they're redeveloping a little bit. We could see some more heavy rain. So flooding going to be the major issue. I wouldn't say we're completely out of the woods regarding our severe weather threat, but flooding definitely going to be something to pay attention to now that the sun has set. Flooded roads, very difficult to see in the evening hours. Liz?
Quick question, Eric. You know, I think that this Flint River has come up because Brownsboro is adjacent to the Hampton Cove area. Flint River goes all the way north of 72 and all the way south past Highway 431. And we talked to Commissioner Hill just a few minutes ago, and he was talking about that entire area there, the potential for Little Cove area along the eastern bypass, that being closed because of the saturation of the Flint River. So I think that is probably why people are living in that area, in the McMullen Cove area. They want to know what they're facing throughout the evening and tomorrow morning, correct?
Yeah, rising water. We've got more rain on the way. You can hear it hitting the roof of our 48 studio. Moderate to heavy rain continues. These water levels just going to continue to rise. If you haven't found out that you live in a flood-prone area over the past 5 days, well, we are not out of the flooding woods just quite yet. So keep an eye on things, especially in low-lying areas. A lot of roads closed throughout North Alabama and the Tennessee Valley. Really, if you're out driving this evening, just know you might come upon some water, and we're keeping an eye on those river levels for you.
Absolutely. Do want to mention a couple little things here. I'm hearing from the EMA in Lincoln County right now. The shelters there in Lincoln County, First Baptist Church as well as Grace Falls Church. Again, those shelters are open there. I have asked specific questions about what people need to bring and whether these shelters are pet friendly. I await an answer to that momentarily. In the meantime, let's go to our Nolan Crane, who is right now somewhere in Muscle Shoals. Are you in Colbert County or are you in Lauderdale County? Where do you stand, sir?
Liz, I am right here in Florence, and you guys were just talking about some of those closed roads. About 5 minutes ago, the Florence Police Department just closed off a big section, 1.5 miles of Highway 20 from the sports complex to the O'Neill Bridge. So 1.5 miles now closed off. You can see some of the barricades. And earlier, they even put some other barricades down here closer to the O'Neill Bridge, but that barricade is now literally in the middle of, do you call this an ocean? This is definitely more than a lake. You may see a sign up there on the O'Neill Bridge. It says vertical clearance 13 feet. Take a look at how high that water is. Definitely some high water, more than halfway up. I'm 6'2". That means if I were to be underneath that bridge, you wouldn't be able to see the top of my head. And we were talking also about some of the debris, some of the reasons why you should stay out of this dirty, mucky water. There's a lot of debris floating. You really can't even see from what it is from right here, but I know our awesome photographer is able to zoom in and kind of show you some of the garbage, some of the junk that is floating in the river, along with tree debris, down branches and leaves, sewage that has overflowed because of the Crest River. There's also some fears among officials that for the potential for Highway 20 to be crest with water as well, because it's kind of like a dish. There's definitely a slope. A lot of water builds up, but if we continue to get the same amount of rain that we've seen the past couple of days, there is that possibility for Highway 20 to be covered with water as well. But as of right now, the police department here in Florence, they have shut off and closed 1.5 miles of Highway 20 in Florence. So you said it before, if you don't have to be out and about today or tonight or tomorrow, wait for this water to go back, to recede. Crews are pumping water out, but that Tennessee River close to near where I am is still rising, and the threat of it to continue to rise continues tonight. Reporting live in Florence, Nolan Crane, WAFF 48 News.
Nolan, one more time for emphasis. How much of Highway 20 is closed right now, from where to where?
Yeah, great question. It is a 1.5 mile stretch. The O'Neill Bridge is right here. That is where they have closed Highway 20, and it goes to the sports complex, which is near County Road. I believe they said it was County Road 2, and that is near the sports complex. 1.5 miles, Highway 20 in Florence, completely barricaded, closed off. The police department did that about 5 minutes ago. They went around with their sirens, trying to shoo everybody out of this area to make sure that they would not be in this area, and that is because some areas of this water are more than 6 feet deep. Kind of hard to believe, but the way that the road is slanted and then there's a huge slope, it all kind of fills in like a dish. And right underneath that O'Neill Bridge, more than 6 feet deep. And as I said, if I were to be standing underneath that bridge, you wouldn't even be able to see the top of my head. So definitely some dangerous flood conditions that we've been warning people about, not only today, but really since the beginning of the week.
Okay, a lot of information there. Thank you again, Nolan Crane, who is near the O'Neill Bridge, 1.5-mile stretch of Highway 20 now closed because of high water. Also hearing right now from Limestone County, Pope Road at Legtown Road, also closed there because of high water over the road. That coming in again from Limestone County. Also, we talked to Culver County a little bit ago, the animal control officer there. They have opened a shelter there for pets. If you need to seek shelter as a human, if you are also opening a shelter where people can drop their animals off, their domestic animals or their farm animals, do let us know that information so we are able to pass that on. Let me check with AlDOT real quick here to see what they are recommending. Nothing again in our area right now. Eric, do you see anything on radar folks need to know about?
Sorry, just trying to update some more of these flood graphics.
Live Doppler radar. You can see.
I actually think it went out on us. We've got it right here on First Alert 1 for you, Brett. That will buy you some. That will buy you some time. But what we're paying attention to, you can hear on the roof here, far eastern Limestone County into Madison County. Some very heavy rain continues to fall. I was just talking about some of the river levels there at Brownsboro, and then also into Morgan County, from Priceville to Hartsville, out to the Hartselle to Falkville, and northeast of Speake, just missing you south in Decatur. Still seeing some very, very heavy rain. Now, what we're also seeing happens to be some of these storms that we call our training here, which means they're kind of just chugging along in the same spot here as we head to the west of this main cluster of heavy rainfall. Still have that severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Morgan County here. That was actually just allowed to expire. So I take that back. But so we're still paying attention to some of these pockets of rain, and if we put this in motion for you, this is just going to be a 15-hour loop. Notice the rain continues to fall essentially in the same areas, over and over and over. We checked in with Nolan multiple times, talking about the high water out into northwest Alabama. Well, you thought you had some drier skies there for a short amount of time, but what we're seeing is redeveloping showers. Can't necessarily call them storms at this time, but that's what we're focusing on. This is the true test of the atmosphere here. What we are going to see as far as, will the atmosphere still be unstable enough to sustain these? We've still got a lot of moisture to work with, that we know, but will we continue to see these showers and storms popping up on the backside of the main cluster here as you go along the 65 corridor? Just some very heavy rain. Look at Madison County at this time, just sopping wet. Heavy rain continues to move through. Seeing some brief dry skies here into DeKalb County, but not for much longer. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire. And then off to our south, looks like that tornado warning that was for Walker County, that has also been allowed to expire by the National Weather Service in Birmingham. Had some rotation that was a little more significant just about half an hour ago. Now we just continue to track this moderate to heavy rain. But paying attention, close attention to these storms as we refer to them as training. You can see along this little axis here, we just have the kind of the rain falling in the same spot over and over and over again. So that's what we're focusing on now. That and the ongoing threat of seeing some flash flooding this evening. Brett?
Yeah, some of the heaviest rain right now in the Huntsville metro area. A lot of lightning going on as well. Up where Jenna is, reporting a lot of lightning there south side of Fayetteville. Let's go to meteorologist Brandon Spinner, who's between Decatur and Priceville right now.
The First Alert Storm Tracker, powered by Wonderworld and Amanda Howard Sotheby's International Realty.
Yeah, Brad, we're actually heading back towards Decatur just so we can keep a signal for this shot. But the heaviest of the rain passed through the Priceville area while we were there. Can report it was coming down. You couldn't even see the gas station across the street, right along Highway 67 We're heading back on the Beltline towards Decatur, just about to go over the Flint Creek. And the rain is not as heavy at this point in Decatur as we take the Skycam there. You notice still coming down, but not nearly as heavy. The wind, as it made its way into Biceville, was strong, but as you said earlier, with that severe thunderstorm warning expiring or being canceled, the wind wasn't severe criteria. It was right around 40 miles per hour tops when it came through. But it was enough that it created instability issues. At this point, we've seen a lot of ponding on the roadways. We've already seen inches and inches of rain, as you guys have been discussing over the last several days, and the water on the sides of the roads. We've seen a lot of ditches full and maybe spilling over to some roads here and there, but nothing to where it's been a stream of water. We do find some areas of ponding, so the one thing you do have to worry about if you are driving this evening will be the hydroplaning part of this. And visibility at times is going to be very poor, especially as this line continues towards Huntsville, as he mentioned. We're going to circle through Decatur and then try to catch the backside of this through Huntsville, see if we can find any downed trees or any roads that are covered in water. But right now, as we're going over the Flint Creek here, you see the bridge there. The rain is just piling up and creating more issues on ponding on the roadways. We'll check back with you as we get closer to town towards the Madison, Huntsville area along 565, see what we can report there. But for now, we're just circling through the Decatur area, and all I can report is the lightning is not as strong or as widespread as it was a little bit ago, maybe a flash here or there, but really starting to die down a bit here in Decatur. We're going to try to catch this again towards Huntsville.
Well, thanks a lot, Brandon. Let's go to Eric and the latest on the Paint Rock River there.
Yeah, if we go over to First Alert 1, please. Just checking the river levels here. A lot of people have been asking about this as well. This is at Woodville there. River right now, 18 feet even, flood stage. We hit that a while ago, 15 feet. And your Sunday morning crest, expecting to top out around 19, maybe pushing 20 feet, but I think 19. But you can see at the bottom of your screen, 19 feet. Water will be covering Alabama 64, about 2 miles north of U.S. Highway 72. If you live in the area, you know where that's at. County roads will be flooded in Paint Rock Valley, and that does include Jackson County Road 20. At 20 feet, if we do hit that, portions of 65, Highway 65, rather, will be closed due to high water. So that's what we're looking at. Paint Rock River in Woodville, expected to crest somewhere around 19 feet tomorrow morning.
Let's go to First Alert 2 here. We are watching other thunderstorms, and unfortunately, Eric, I do think some of these rivers are going to go higher. That has been the trend. This has been a real, very difficult forecast to nail exactly where the heaviest rain is going to fall, because that boundary really didn't go anywhere throughout the early part of the week. And it's been very true. There's so much moisture in the air. We have above normal what we would call precipitant water that's coming in from the Gulf of Mexico. And as we look back to the west here, we are noticing a little bit of strengthening with these storms over here across the state line, at least to the south. And this is all south of that boundary. So what I'm going to do here, south of Double Springs, northwest of Hamilton, so you folks in Phil Campbell, I'm going to keep a close eye on this storm here for you. We're going to take a look at what the shear rate is inside that storm first off, and it is showing a little bit just to the west of Hamilton and north of Carbon Hill. But as I go in and just take a look at the straight velocity, it's enough to be concerned with as well. So what we're tracking here is back into the southwest side of the viewing area. Again, heavy rain, flooding rain going on in the Huntsville metro area, as Brandon Spinner was mentioning earlier. What we're going to watch here are these thunderstorms northwest of Hamilton and north of Carbon Hill. I'm going to put a storm track on these as well for you, and we're going to take this out and see where it's going. This is moving up into Franklin County, and if this continues to look like this or intensifies more, we may get a tornado warning for southern Franklin County. I'm going to put a storm track on the area of concern right now as we put this fan out, and it's where this notch is, and moving northeast here, and it appears to be moving northeast at about,
heads up for Franklin
55
County.
miles per hour. We're going to update that right there. So 52 miles an hour in that direction there. That's going to put it near Scottsville around 7:06. It's 7:03 now. and it's moving towards Hodges at 7:19, Old Nauvoo at 7:26. I'm going to put these laps into motion again just to make sure we're looking at the right area. Again, it's this storm here. It could intensify a little bit more as it moves to the northeast, and that will put Bill Campbell over time. I'm going to extend the storm track here. And keeping a close eye on those storms. Watch out for any quick strong winds with these storms as well. Latest storm track here, we're going to go out 45 minutes, and that was going to put it close to the Russellville area. Heads up, Russellville 7. We're watching this storm southwest. I'll get to the other storm south of Devil Springs here in just a second. I want to look at the fresh set of data here, talking about the velocity in there, see if it's increased at all. Strong. I do think that's a severe thunderstorm coming in from the southwest, although there's not a lot of lightning, so that's the only pause here on this thing maybe getting it stronger, because there's no lightning showing, no significant lightning showing up at the moment. You don't have to have lightning to have tornadoes. I'm going to go ahead and toss over to Liz Hurley, then we're going to get back to that storm that's in Winston County. That's going to be tracking northeast into Coleman County and southern Morgan County as well, but it's got a lot of rain to get through before it gets there, Liz.
Like we talked about earlier, that must be that storm system that's finally moving in. There are at least 20 roads I just counted in Limestone County that are closed. Now in Madison County, we have Homer Nance at Jordan Road and Monroe and Mount Lebanon Road, both closed, underwater. So Madison County SO, the Sheriff's Department, asking that you avoid that area. We talked to County Commissioner Craig Hill a little while ago. Hobbs Island Road closed right now, as well as other roads that are nudging and surrounding the southeast Huntsville area of Madison County. So do take note on that. I'm reading quickly on some feeds right here to see where else. Oh, again, a big reminder in Lincoln County, the shelters are now open at West End Baptist Church as well as First Baptist Church. Again, if you live in Lincoln County and need to seek higher ground, that is a place to go there. Remember, turn around, don't drown. We've been talking about it for, it seems like weeks now. Avoid these flooded roads. Be very cautious if you have to get out at night. But as you have heard, emergency officials are warning you, please do not get out and about on the roads tonight. It is dark and the waters are rising. You just do not know how deep that water is. Moving
Sir.
very, very powerful. Get to higher ground, use a weather radio, put together a disaster.
Correct. got. I didn't realize I still had this on. Okay. Alright, what do we have now? Another tornado warning for Walker County until 8 o'clock. Let's see. Tornado warning for parts of Walker County till 8 o'clock. Flash flood warning for Madison, Morgan, and Limestone till 8 o'clock. And Governor Adams declared a state of emergency due to flooding potential and severe weather. Not surprised at all about that. Oh no. Let's see. Everybody needs to be aware of the flood. Let's see. That was earlier. Oh my goodness. That's hard to look at, quite frankly. Actually, I'll look at that in just a minute. Alright, now look at it. Tornado warning for Coleman County until 8 o'clock. Okay, I'm staying on here for that matter. Tornado warning for Coleman County until 8 o'clock. So find out who's in the polygon and all. Let's see. And I'm still on here, so don't need to worry. If I can find it, it'll be. Let's see. Maybe this will actually pull up like it should have done earlier. It's not wanting to pull up. It's so frustrating.
station alert has arrived.
Okay. Of course, that's not one to pull up, which is so frustrating. It's very frustrating. And Twitter ain't one to pull up. Come on now, pull it up.
Lightning has been detected near your location.
Not surprised about that. Goodness gracious. Pull the whole thing and see if it pops up Coleman County. Yes, it does. Or it was gonna pull it up. Seriously? So frustrating. I guess we'll just have to pull it up on the app, I guess. Coleman County. It does not include. I will tell you this: the Coleman County warning does not, from what I can see right now, it does not include the city of Coleman. Again, the Coleman County warning so far does not include the city of Coleman. It does include Good Hope. And it does include Colony and Garden City, and just barely includes Huntsville. And it does include Dodge City. See other locations. See what that would be. The Sipsey area. That's probably near the Coleman-Walker County line. Let's see. There's Cordova and the Polygon. Hopefully they're in their safe place. Well, everybody in that polygon, 21 polygons in that warning. Nobody should be driving on I-65 right now. Nobody. I'm going to see if they're streaming on Coleman County warning or not. Or if they're on the air for it. If they're not, I'll be very surprised. Let's see. Could be. It should be.
Denny's new Super Sampler.
Not that. If they're not covering the Coleman, WFM48 and them are not covering the.
Tracking that tornado warning now.
Looks like they are.
Of Coleman County, that area of rotation, just off to the northeast of the Cordova area toward Empire, and actually over the few scans doesn't look as tight as it did just a moment ago. And then also Morgan County, there we're tracking some potential winds around 40 to 50 miles per hour. That would be that area there toward the Falkville area, northeast of Jones Chapel, and also northeast of the Fairview area. Brad?
Yeah, as we watch this storm, I put a storm tracker
Oh,
into our first live Doppler radar here, so you can
Everybody
see the
else
colors just a little
appears to
bit
be
different
okay
because
at
there's
this
so much
time.
rain out there. But here's that storm, and it's moving very fast. I think it's moving closer to 60 miles per hour. Good Hope around 8 o'clock, Huntsville around 8:02, and that's 20 minutes away.
You're in Good Hope
I'll
and
be
Garden
seeking shelter
City.
in these areas.
Go ahead and
just
get
know
in a
that it's
safe place
possible this
now.
could weaken before it makes it in there because the circulation, it is fairly tight right now, but it's still about to run north of this, perhaps north of the boundary and into this rain-cooled air. But right now we have a storm capable of producing a tornado tracking to the northeast at 60 miles per hour right into Coleman County.
Don't
And
be
it's going to
driving on
track
I-65.
right across
Do not be on
I-65
I-65 right
within,
now.
I would say, 15 minutes or so. So right around the top of the hour, about 7:55 or so. So if you know someone who's on the interstate into Coleman County, it's going to be south of Coleman. Probably going to be close to where that rest stop area is. If you've gone down that area, and it's basically the rest stop where if you're going to an Alabama game and you want to take the road to the west into Walker County, that's where you take that immediate right after that. And I think it's very close to that, and we'll be close to that area on I-65 here in about 15 minutes. So that's the storm we're watching right now.
If that's the case, everybody down there.
Lightning
Well,
strike.
they got the
So
warning
that's in
if
our
you've
favor
already
right
been in
now.
a
That's some
safe
good news
place.
there. There's
If
not a lot
not,
of
you
lightning.
get
There's just a
there
little bit
now.
of spin with that storm. That's what concerns us. Watching this area north of Piney Grove as well, and that's going to be
Oh,
tracking
boy.
up towards Falkville. Very heavy rain, some intense wind possible with that as well. And where this one goes down the road could be closer to Arab and could be on the Douglas side as well as it gets up closer to Marshall County. And we'll continue to track that, keep you up to date on the progress. But again, one lightning strike, negative lightning strike at that, here in the last 15 minutes with that storm there. So what I'm going to do is go through this, find my clicker, and we're going to go through the rest of these storms here for you. I'm going to kind of summarize everything we've been talking about. Here's the shear detection. It's not showing a whole lot around here for sure. So let's go down here to the south, and you can see the Sipsey area. This is a late update here. This is 7:42. And that's why we have a live radar, because we get a live view of where it is, because this storm is now in Coleman County. And out here to the west, we continue lightning picking back up on the west side of Florence. And this is just this narrow stripe. I think we may have the front right in here from New Albany, and that's where they're, as Eric was mentioning, they've dropped the watch for those areas. They're going to drop it as the front moves through. And it's that front that is going to end our rain around here. But out ahead of it, we still have a lot of rain, a lot of issues out there, a lot of headaches right up here in the Huntsville metro area. And once again, back here, that boundary that just will not stop over northwest Alabama. So back to the storm at hand. We've got thunderstorms all tracking east-northeast. And it's this one here moving into southern Coleman County, coming right out of Smith Lake. And it's going to stay south of Coleman the way it looks right now. And that other area just southwest of Falkville, I think it's filling in a little bit. It's not showing really any signs of rotation, so to speak, right now. Still some rotation on that backside of that storm down there to our south, and that's what we're going to be looking at here. It's kind of in the folded area a little bit. You know what?
I've got you on first alert one.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in there. I can do that right here. So as we go right in here, and keep in mind this is going to be just a little delayed because the storm is now in Coleman County. So here's that rotation, and it's coming from the southwest. And there's the latest update right there. It's losing some of that. It's losing some of that rotation. So there is some good news right there. As far as a hail threat,
Still get
I don't think we have much of a hail. In fact, there's no hail with that storm at all. And I do want to get back into the velocity real quick. And then tornado degree signature. Don't see any of that right now. Of course, that's not going to, there it is, should switch over. But overall, we're watching this area down here to the south of Bremen. Got a tornado warning with it, north of Empire. But I think over time, we're probably going to see this weakening. So if we continue to see that trend, we're going to get you right back to your regular scheduled program, which I believe we have hockey on tonight. So let's go ahead and I'm just
I
going to
don't
back
care
this
what
up, get back to our
program
first
it's on.
live radar. Earlier shear detection.
As long as
nothing
these
there.
warnings
Here's that
are in
storm track
place,
for that storm, and
they're probably
there's been
they're
no lightning
going to
now,
stay on there till all the
detected
warnings
here with this storm.
expire.
So it's going to stay south of Coleman,
So
and eventually
there
move up
better
towards
not be
Arab, but I really think by
anybody
the time it makes it up to
complaining
Arab,
about
we're
program being
just looking
interrupted.
at very heavy rain from
Nobody.
this, and more of that will come as we go through the overnight
Life
hours.
is
It'll
more
finally come to
important
an
than
end. So
programming
we're really
or
watching this
games,
back line here
whatever.
of the heavy rain that just
Life is
continues.
more
It's
important.
relentless, and I'm going to loop this to see if we have any eastward movement at all, and I think we will, because I think this area out here is going to be, you want to push that button for me?
Yeah, I got you.
It's not recognizing my hand, so anyway. But what's going to happen is,
What do you need?
I just need this to loop, move to the east. So overall, what we're watching is the front out here to the west.
It's not working for me
It's not
either.
working,
So,
okay.
well, I pulled up a first alert one.
Go ahead.
We'll get a loop on whatever you looked at.
It's too wet.
Possibly.
All right, so this is a different radar perspective here. What do you got? First alert one up.
Yeah, it's coming. There you go.
All right, put that into motion. Okay,
Come on.
Okay, we're both controlling it. Anyway, what we want to see is this rain here leave, and I'm looking for the end. And what if we get a movement on this area out to the west, we will see that we're going to be able to track this cold front too. So let me get on over there and we'll move it around. And what I want to do is see if that cold front's over there, then I can finally start telling some people when the threat's going to be gone pretty much. So as we look down here, yes, I do believe the front is right in here. I'm going to have to start this here real quick in order to illustrate on it. So we have the tornado warning again that continues in southern Coleman County. The heavy rain's coming in from the west, but the cold front is right in here, and there it is. It's pretty much there. I know I drew it in red, and that is tracking to the east. So let me move this front east at roughly 45 miles per hour. And this is when we will see the rain come to an end in most areas. So chance of rain will be ending in Florence around 9 o'clock this evening. Hatton around 9:43. Again, what I'm tracking is the cold front moving to the east at 40 miles per hour. And a lot of you are wondering, am I going to have to stay up all night for these showers? It's not going to flood overnight. I mean, it will be flooding in some areas overnight, but it's not going to rain all night. Florence, rain should end at 9:12. Hatton, 9:43. Decatur, 19. Huntsville, just before 11 o'clock. The rain should be coming to an end, and it could be coming to an end a little sooner than that. Latest from the Weather Service, they continue the tornado warning for Coleman County at 7:46. Severe thunderstorm Capo producing a tornado was located near Arkadelphia or 10 miles to the north of Summerton, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So we continue to watch these showers and thunderstorms across the area. And right now that storm is just on the southern fringes of Coleman County. It looks like it's going to straddle that county line there between Blount and Coleman County. So we'll keep a close eye on it for you folks in Hanceville. But the front, again, is back here to the west, and that's going to help us out as we go through the evening hours. You can just see from our live radar just the constant update, just the fluid motion of all of this heavy rain that's up here towards Suwanee now and back to Fayetteville. Albertville, very heavy rain. But, again, no lightning from the storm in Coleman County for about 10 minutes. So that's good news. Again, we're going to stay on because there's a tornado warning and it's impacting our viewing area, and then we'll get right back to programming. If it completely falls apart, we're gonna get back to your regular scheduled programming. I'll tell you that right now. Flash flood warning in effect for the metro area until 8 o'clock this evening. And as we've been mentioning all along, this is a multi-day event here. The rain stops tonight. It'll be gone, but the river flooding is going to continue well past this weekend. And we're not the only ones. They've got flash flood warnings from here all the way up to Nashville and into Kentucky.
Yeah, I remember
It's
that.
just been raining so hard. Tornado watch through 10 o'clock. This will likely be canceled out early because that line is actually probably going to be canceled right on time for the Huntsville, Fayetteville, Albertville area. I anticipate the watch to be dropped probably for the Shoals by 9 o'clock this evening. Maybe a little bit sooner than that. But overall, that's what we're looking at as we go back here with the radar data. Liz, anything else?
Well, right now, this storm is poised to head to Marshall County, and right now we have EMA Director Anita McBurnett joining us now from Marshall County. Are you there, Anita?
Liz?
How are you?
We're doing great. been holding it together all week, and we're waiting for this to pass through.
I hear you. You have got shelters open. I saw Ronnie Shoemate talk about that today. You have shelters open already tonight for people who need a place to stay.
We have the tornado shelters have been open for those who needed a place to go for the severe weather coming through. So those have been open. Very few people have taken advantage of that, though. I think they've done a good job watching the weather to kind of see how things are beginning to quiet down a little bit. But we're still not out of the woods, so that's the point we need to make here, that we still got a little ways to go with the cell that is down in Coleman County right now.
That's coming from the sky. What about what's already on the ground, Anita? Let's talk about what's happening at Gunnersville Dam. How high is the water there now off of the spillway from TVA?
We're about a little over 36 feet. The top of the dam rests at 40 feet. So the TVA has been doing a great job and load leveling the river system. So everything is really spilling out there at a very fast, rapid pace. We're watching what we're be getting from Nickajack up in Chattanooga and how that's going to pan out. So with the rain we see tonight and what's going on with the river system, we'll be having to keep a close eye on it tomorrow to see exactly where we're going to crest and what that's going to look like for us here along the lake, the tailwater side down on the dam toward Whitesburg. So we're actually in a better shape than I think our counties to the south of us there are actually to the north of us. It's funny how the Tennessee River snakes around there. But we have a lot of pasture land down there, so there's not a lot of residents that live along the tiller. So that's very beneficial from a standpoint of evacuation. But what we are watching is that pool level and seeing how that's coming up. What kind of roads might be affected, what residents will be cut off, and then what few homes there will be, what will be impacted. So keeping a close eye on it. This rain tonight, of course, we're watching flooded roadways with the runoff. All week long, we've had about 3 rounds of where it rained heavily. We came right up to the cliff's edge with regards to having closed a lot of roads, but it stopped at time and there was enough downtime with no rain that it allowed it to drain back off. Tonight we'll see if that happens, and we're very fortunate one more time. Paint Rock River is another area that we're watching right now, and we do have a lot of residents that do live up there that is going to be impacted as it continues to rise overnight, tonight, tomorrow. We've made contact on house to house. So we have a plan for those residents should we need to move quickly to get them to safe shelter. So we're just now in a holding pattern to see what kind of runoff we're going to have and what kind of actions we need to take.
Well, let's talk about actions on that, Anita. You've got Paint Rock River plan. You've made house-to-house contact. How many people are in the area that you anticipate being impacted? And what are you doing now? Are you staging, anticipating an overnight evacuation?
We are. If the need arises, the families have been notified. We know where the water is currently, how far it is from the residents, and they have a plan. They're ready to go. They all have modes of transportation out, and we do have a plan what kind of action we need to hear over the next couple of hours.
And what kind of feet are we talking about on the Paint Rock, and at what point do you make your move?
Right now, they're looking at 19 feet. In the morning, we expect with the 1.5 inches that we get, we might see it up to about 21 feet. And that it's in between 19 and 21 feet there that the residents that I'm talking about, and there's about 12 of them. So we're talking about probably 20 people, and a lot of them are family members. So with that said, again, we can get things moving real quick and get them to safety. So then we'll have to watch for tomorrow to see what kind of rise we get, and if that's above that, then we'll have another group of residences that may be impacted, and we'll start over the same process with them.
So you pull the trigger in 2 feet, right, from 19 to 20, and then you regroup if it gets even higher, and you'll go and and wrap up another evacuation there.
That's correct, Liz.
You have a lot of things going. Let's go back to the Guntersville Dam. You said that the top of the dam is 40 feet. You're now looking at 36 feet. 4 feet is really not a lot to go. Not a lot of wiggle room there.
That's correct. Having been here in 2003, when we had the flooding then again in 2015, it's amazing what they do along the Tennessee River and leveling that out.
Honestly.
So I've seen them do some amazing things with the amount of water that comes down in different scenarios. So even if it did top a little bit there, we're still going to be okay. I think we're still in good shape, but something that we'll have to monitor over the next couple of days to see where we stand. Again, we got a plan. We're ready to go. Everybody's notified, and these are things that we plan for years in advance, and we hope that we never have to implement these plans. But we've been going over those, preparing should that unthinkable event occur. So we're sitting here poised and waiting to see what develops.
Okay, it's 8 o'clock tonight. The governor has already declared a state of emergency in Marshall County to go into effect in 1 hour. What do you want to tell the citizens of Marshall County tonight regarding the roads, regarding the water?
The message right now is that we still have a severe cell that is down in Coleman County. So I want everybody in Marshall County to be aware of that, to make sure that we don't see a small tornado spin up out of this. Secondly, we've been monitoring the water all week. People have been really good about slowing their speeds down, watching for water across the roadway. We've had very few accidents. I'm really thankful that people have been paying attention to the warnings we've been putting in there. Be mindful about the flooding is going to continue over the next few days. And for those areas that are in the flood inundation areas, those people who live there, let's keep the vigilance up, let's keep our guard up, and together we'll get through this.
Anita, thank you for being where you are and doing what you do for so long. We appreciate you spending time with us tonight. Keep us abreast of any changes.
Thank you, ma'am, and the job y'all do, we greatly appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Anita McBurnett, Marshall County EMA. Guys, what's the latest?
Yeah, let's go over to First Alert 3. And the storm down here to the south in Coleman County is rotating. It's fairly consistent rotation, so we are concerned here that there may be a tornado developing.
This is
there were
southern
some
Coleman
reports
County,
about 10 minutes ago, some power flashes, but that was down into Walker County. So again, you need to be seeking shelter there.
That was north of Cordova.
Cordova, yes.
And that was about 7 minutes ago. That report came in. Obviously, that's a little bit delayed too, but some power flashes possible with this storm we're tracking here in Coleman County.
Yeah, what we're seeing is some fairly strong. The thing of it is this storm is kind of equal distance from both NEXRAD Doppler radars, so that's why we're coming in here and I'm looking closer at the velocity from areas to the south. And you can see it right here, plain as day. Near Colony, and it's about ready to cross I-65. So possible tornadoes crossing I-65 south of Dodge City, between Dodge City and Smoke Rise, which is as you get closer to Etowah County. I believe that is in Etowah County. And this is going to be tracking towards Hansville. So if you're in Hansville, you need to be seeking shelter. As we go to our First Alert live Doppler radar, we kind of go back and forth here. I do have a storm track on there for Hansville. It's going to be showing up there in about 8 minutes or so. We can go over the First Alert live Doppler radar on the source, and you will see the storm track Hansville 805. So be seeking shelter now in Hansville, Simcoe around 817. So still 17 more minutes, and we'll continue as Anita McBurnett was mentioning up here in Marshall County. Should get your attention now up here towards Arab, Guntersville, and Douglas with a possible tornado in southern Coleman County tracking northeast. It'll be near the Holly Pond area around 8:19. So once again, possible tornado as we switch you over here back to First Alert 3, I want to show you the history here of this area of rotation and why it does concern us as we switch over here to the Birmingham next red.
If you're in Holly Pond, get ready. If you're not in the warning, you might be in it shortly.
Which is
but
right
if you're
now
in the warning,
over
get to
I-65.
your
So
safe
possible
place
tornado crossing
right
I-65 in southern Coleman County. It's about 2 miles, maybe 5 miles in from southern parts of Blount County. So this is going to be close to that area where the road actually expands. I believe that's down toward Warrior, where the road expands to 3 lanes. So again, what we have is a possible tornado, radar indicated tornado. We've had reports of power flashes with that at least one point in time north of Cordova. And this is going to be very close to Garden City and Hanceville. So Garden City and Hanceville be seeking shelter. And on up the road, Holly Pond, you are going to be next in line for this, unless it starts moving a little bit more to the east, maybe turning to the right a bit. But that's what we're tracking right now. Possible tornado right over I-65, moving towards Garden City.
I sure hope there ain't no one on I-65 right now.
Over the next 15, 20
If there
minutes.
are,
And then
get
continuing on
off
up to the
the
north.
road.
Here's Douglas right here. Here's where you get into the Marshall County line. Arab right up here. So Sneed, going to be close for Sneed. Bluntsville, just north of Sneed, south of Gunnersville. As you get in closer, Douglas is in there. Here is Douglas. Some strong gusty winds in the higher elevation, but here's Douglas, and the storm is right now rotating over I-65. So let's go back and go to First Alert 2.
That's pretty rough.
And we'll go through and track all these for you. First Alert 2 showing
it's
that
crossing
First Alert
I-65.
live storm tracker, Doppler radar, all sorts of
There
names
should not
for
be
these things.
anyone down there right
Again,
now.
want to be seeking shelter.
Nobody.
Hanceville, Simcoe, and Holly Pond. It's heading your way. Shear detection. We'll go ahead and skip past that. We're going to show you the Hanceville area. Again, paralleling Highway 91 right now.
Same
We're going to get
doing
in here.
Highway
We're going
91.
to zoom
If
in,
you're
get
on
more
that,
street
get
level
to
here.
your safe place now.
As this gets closer and closer to parts of our viewing area that are in Coleman County. So again, going in here towards Hanceville, it's this area here just south of Dodge City. And we've got Highway 91, Fairview West, all in line for this possible tornado. It continues to track to the east-northeast. Again, the data here is lagging behind just somewhat. As we go to our live Doppler radar, you can see the storm is now clearly past I-65. So Dodge City, all clear there. The storm's moving between Hanceville and Garden City. And we can zoom in just a little bit more here. I'm going to get the next red Doppler radar back up there, coming out of the south. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer.
For now, you're all clear
into the
Dodge City.
Hanceville and Garden
Come out
City
of your
areas.
safe place for now.
And we're going to be close to Blount County here pretty soon, too. So,
if you have not gotten in
Fairview
your
West,
safe
the
place,
center community,
you have to
down
do
here in
that
Coleman
now.
County, Hanceville. We got
You have to.
And then as we go down a little bit farther to the west, you've got Garden City and Highway 31 from Hanceville down to Garden City. Be seeking shelter in these areas. It is approaching at a 50-mile
now,
and will continue to do so over time. So here's the latest on our First Alert Live Doppler radar. Just to the east of I-65 now. I'm going to go ahead and zoom into this storm here on our live radar and give you a better idea.
One thing to point out, Brad, been talking about the training of the storms forming out in front of that cold front. Go over First Alert 1 really quick while Brad gets that storm track set out. Rain in the same spot that we've seen. A moderate to heavy rain continues to fall from Franklin to Colbert to Lauderdale County in that same line that we've been talking about for the past hour to an hour and a half. This is the epitome of training thunderstorms. Train on track. Rain falling continuously in the same spot. We have dropped the flash flood warning that goes for the Huntsville metro area. That was allowed to expire, but areas to our northeast, including far eastern Madison County into Jackson County, that flash flood warning will continue as we head to 8:30. So another 26 minutes potentially on that, may be extended because the rain continues to fall. Really quick, going just to our First Alert Live Doppler radar to show you the big picture here. This is what we have for you. Widespread pockets of moderate to heavy rain. The tornado watch that we were talking about that goes until 10 this evening. Our neighbors to the west and to Mississippi, they've been allowed to be removed from the watch area. We are still very much so under a tornado watch here in North Alabama. That goes until 10 this evening. Brad's up there on our Doppler radar. He's got a closer look at that tornado
Some people
warning storm
trying to
there
ask me
in
about if
Coleman
I'm
County.
there
Brad?
or single,
Yeah,
and that has nothing to do
Coleman,
with
the city of Coleman,
that has nothing to do with the
continue
weather.
to track northeast, and it's going to
So
be
I'm
close
not
to
answering
8
any
here
questions that
by
has nothing to do with the
8:34.
weather.
It's 8:05. The tornado
I want to make that
continued
very clear
into,
right
through,
now.
I believe it's 8:30. They didn't include Marshall County in that new warning, did they?
Nope, strictly Coleman.
Okay, so it stops basically right at the Marshall County line at 8:30. So if they're going to warn for the Arab Gunnersville area, it's going to happen probably about 10 minutes from now or so. If it continues, what we're seeing right now on the radar, that is fairly strong circulation. Also keep in mind, we're basically our beams here. We have high top hitting it high and Birmingham radar hitting it high as well, so not really getting a good sample out of that. And there's no lightning, so you're not even going to see. There's no lightning flashes. It will not illuminate any funnel, but there were power flashes. And the reason power flashes are what we really pay attention to, especially at night if there's no lightning, is because it'd be a transformer and most likely possible tornado with that, or straight line winds can do that as well. But here's that storm track you need, Hanceville, in 2 minutes. Be seeking shelter in Hanceville right now. Holly Pond, 821. Baileyton, 826. 28, Joppa 830, Arab 834, Union Grove 841. And Union Grove, as you go out in this fan, there's a certain amount of uncertainty. A lot of us are familiar with the hurricane center tracks. As you go farther away from this point, the error is larger. So that's why it fans out and it gives you alert. This goes out an hour too. So this is going to continue to move towards Arab, especially the south side of Arab. I don't think we have a violent tornado here. It's possible we have a lower end type tornado, but regardless, if it hits your house, it's going to do some damage. So keep that in mind too. So Arab, again, 834.
All tornadoes are dangerous, and you have to take them seriously.
25 minutes away, so you have plenty of heads up.
Tornado one continues till 8:30 for Coleman County.
Over there?
Nope. Just continuing to track the heavy rain falling. We do have that tornado warning. Goes through 8:30. It's tracking northeast around 45 miles per hour. Tornado warning for Coleman County. No word yet on if they will extend that or not. But continuing to track some of that heavier rain falling across the area. I know meteorologist Brendan Spinner came back in our 48 storm tracker reporting that even just the wet roads were hazardous to travel on this evening, let alone the closed roads. It's dark now, very hard to see. Flooded roadways. Just please use caution out there this evening. We continue to see the rain falling, and it's not going to let up anytime soon. Looking off to our north and west here, this is out in front of the cold front. If we were to draw that on there for you, now we can put it in the monitor behind me here, but there's your front right there. Continuing to track off to the north and east, and that will continue to bring that line of rain and storms. The lightning, not very frequent with this line, but hoping that it starts moving a little faster from west to east, and that's because we want that rain to start moving out of the areas that have seen this band of rain sitting on top of them for the past hour and a half or so. But the front continues to push through. We could look at the wind observations right now into northern Mississippi, and I'm sure you'd start to see the wind shifting more northwesterly, and that means that the front continues to push through. As for now, though, our wind remains out of the south here in North Alabama, still under that tornado watch. Northern Mississippi has been allowed to be removed from the area, but that tornado watch continues for us until at least the 10 o'clock hour. National Weather Service in Huntsville continuing that tornado warning until 8:30.
And the southern Coleman County tornado warning continues until 8:30.
Like Brad mentioned, we kind of run into that overlap area of two radar sites, High Top and Birmingham, and you're kind of hitting the top of the storm, not necessarily what's happening closer to the ground, which is where you typically see that tornado rotation. The radar indicated at this time
is south of Coleman.
into Coleman County. Still hanging on to that tornado warning. There's your cell tracking just a little northeast of that. I'm going to show you the velocity where we have that couplet is showing up south of Hanceville, but it's probably just actually a little east because we have that brief lag in data here. But that's what we're continuing to monitor as far as the tornado warned storm here into Coleman County, tracking northeast at 50 miles per hour, storm capable of producing a tornado. Put one more cone on it here for you, you know what's headed your way. No reports of anyone actually seeing this storm report coming in, but that's what we're focusing on right now near the Walter area around 8:22. So Holly Pond still got about 12 minutes or so. This tornado warning goes through 8:30. Flash flooding has been allowed to expire for downtown Huntsville, also Limestone and Morgan County, but we still have flash flood warnings ongoing for Jackson County into northeast Mississippi and also a few portions of southern Middle Tennessee. Brad, you got a better track on that?
Yeah, I've got a fresh storm track here.
Okay.
Updated everything. Again, this is going to be Hanceville 809, Holly Pond 822, Summit 829, Joppa 831. It's 8:10 now, so 21 more minutes. It'll be in Joppa and about 24 minutes in Arab, the south side of Arab. And this track here takes it very close to the north side of Douglas and perhaps right on into Gunnersville. So starting to mention more names down here, down the road into Marshall County. There's a subtle change here just in the last volume scan. So again, as far as the Weather Service is concerned, the reason we're including Marshall County is because this is a storm track that goes out 35 to 40 minutes. And the Weather Service will continue to monitor the very latest until we get to that point where if it was a stronger rotation, if it was producing a significant tornado right now, you would already have a tornado warning. I would say that right. So that is one of the things we're monitoring there, or if it was moving faster. But again, just take this with a grain of salt for now if you're in Marshall County, because it's still possible this will weaken as it gets closer. Joppa 831, Arab 835, Union Grove 841, and Gunnersville at 847. So as we go down the road here, here's our circulation. And you see, it looks like it's breaking apart, but as Eric and I have been mentioning, it's high above the ground. So that's the other difficult part of continuing a warning as you're crossing in. And I'll go ahead and switch the view here. And you can see we get a different view from the next red Doppler radar coming in from the north. And it still shows circulation, but it's not as strong. So what the Weather Service is trying to gauge right now is as this gets closer, it gets closer to the radar beam where we want to get the information from. So as of right now, this, just looking at this, doesn't look like it's strong enough rotation to continue the tornado warning. However, if the next scan starts to show more and more rotation, that would mean that there's actually more rotation than we can see. Doppler radar has its limitations, and that is one of them. Here's the latest on the shear. Again, this is going to be 5 minutes back, so it kind of gives you the trend here. The Hanceville area, it's moving through there right now on its way up towards Holly Pond. So it has passed I-65, by the way. If you have someone you know that's on the interstate in Coleman County, then it's pretty much all clear on I-65. Everything tracking off to the north and east.
So far,
one other
all
stop
clear
here
on
back to the west, where we actually have some lightning.
You can travel
this
on
very
I-65
heavy rain. This is a very narrow line. This is going to end up being the cold front shifting to the east. And it's 8 o'clock. We said the severe threat should be over in the forecast yesterday by 10 o'clock in the shoals, and that may be the case. So this is we're approaching the end here out in Muscle Shoals of the heavy rain. It's just going to take a little bit more time. While this is all training to the northeast, the trend is to move to the east more than it is northeast. And the good news here for Lawrence County is you're getting a break before this next heavier band of rain comes in. So we continue with heavy rain across areas in northeast Alabama and on up towards Thames Ford Lake, but the heaviest flash flooding rain is concentrated over Jackson County, DeKalb County, and Marshall County, and that's only going to exacerbate some of your issues out there as we speak. Okay, General Public reported a funnel cloud at 8:02 near
the Colony in Coleman County.
Colony, yeah. Okay, so again, we got the public report.
And then that power flash report was the original one, like we mentioned earlier.
The problem is it's really hard to see a funnel cloud on a night like this when you have a storm. It's hard to even call it a storm. It's rotating some, but overall it is showing some signs of weakening. So let's go back here and take a look at our live radar, and it is splitting a little bit. In fact, I'm
getting a report here of some potential trees down, and that's from Coleman County Fire on Highway 91. there in Colony. So this storm, now that we're starting to see the reports coming in, it's had sustained rotation. We've had the power flashes, now getting reports of trees down. Not the easiest to see. We don't have any lightning to illuminate it, but going off what we're seeing here on radar, it's potentially producing a tornado.
Yeah, so possible tornado that has touched down with this storm, and that would be, can you find
Trees down on 91, Highway 90,
Yep,
Highway
go ahead and find
91,
Colony and Highway
Colton
91,
County.
and then we'll touch base back with you to kind of give
Colony.
an idea of where that is. And if it's far, because if it's right now where this is, then it's a little bit different story there. There's the Colony. Let's go to, what do you got there?
That's,
is that Max
we're on 1.
Let's go to First Alert 1. And this is where the report was. It's called the Colony. And again, here's I-65. It was due west of there. So let's slowly zoom out. That was when the storm was really rotating fairly
Correct,
strong.
before it even crossed 65 there, just west of it.
So how many miles is that? I can use that mile. So again, what we're trying to figure out is, do we still have...
That's about 2 miles.
Well, let's go miles to where the storm is now.
Okay, gotcha.
So again, these will be delayed reports here. So even though there was a report of a tornado at that time and tree damage,
12 miles?
That was
Ish,
12,
give or
12
take.
miles
Well, probably
or so
more
back.
15.
So again, things can change. That was probably, I'd say 15, 20 minutes ago. So we'll continue to monitor this right here for you. Let's go back to our First Alert Live Doppler radar and show you what's going on First Alert 2. As we have the heavy rain continuing out ahead of this, Holly Pond be seeking shelter. The tornado warning goes for another 14 minutes, and so far they have not extended it into Marshall County.
Place if you're in Holly Pond.
Yeah, just west of I-65. That's where they're trying to confirm that. So it continues to move away. Our live radar, it's not looking as intense or organized. So let's go over to First Alert 3 so we can switch this up a little bit more and kind of manipulate the data. I'm not manipulate, but zoom in a little bit easier here. And this is the rotation that we have. I'm going to loop this. Again, it won't show much at the beginning because it was too high above the beam. But there's what we're looking at as it crosses through the area. There's Colony. So that's where the tornado was. It doesn't look as organized now as it did. It looks like it's spreading out a little bit. So you see you had the darker, or the brighter blue there, right there at that time, right over Colony, and tracking to the north. I would still be seeking shelter in Holly Pond for this, but as this approaches, we're going to keep a close eye on this radar data for you.
Asphalt Garden City is where tornado warning continues.
Hopefully we don't see any
Till
more
like
brighter
30.
blues, but it still has circulation there.
And getting a report from local fire about another tree down. Of course, we read these reports here saying tree down. We don't know the size. What we're seeing, was it underwater from heavy rain over the past couple of days? But we'll just continue to monitor these reports. But what we're tracking, no word on the extension just quite yet of this tornado warning. Still going until 8:30. So another 12 minutes or so on this tornado warned storm. Capable of producing a tornado. We don't know for sure. We don't have any confirmation of that, but moving northeast around 40 miles per hour. This is a cell that we've probably had our eyes on for about an hour and a half, even when it was outside of our viewing area. Just kind of kept that rotation steadily going. It would go away, it would broaden, and then it'd come back and tighten up. And that's what we saw as it crossed into Coleman County here, and that's what we continue to see on the radar data. Still seeing some rotation with this. We've got reports of trees down west of Interstate 65, about 2 miles west to be specific, in the Colony area, and still tracking this off to the north and east. And maybe this will be extended into Marshall County. That's what we're going to find out here probably in the next couple of minutes or so.
Yeah, I was looking at, okay. They say the southern Coleman County storm has crossed the front and rapidly losing definition on radar.
Yep.
So, good news for you and ARAB. Again, there's that boundary over here where the air is more stable, and it runs into it like a brick wall. So, they may not be continuing this tornado warning into Marshall County. So again, Holly Pond 822, it's coming into town. If it has anything left, you're going to see it here in the next few minutes. I was looking at the tornado debris signature, at least from the radar, and there's nothing being lofted in the air. So when that happens, and you do get reports of trees down, more than likely it's one of these EF0 type tornadoes, a low end tornado. But regardless, there has been some damage out there with trees west of I-65, and it really looks like it's losing its identity here on our First Alert Live radar too, right over Holly Pond. It's beginning to kind of fade away. So if you go back over here, there's still some circulation that I'm seeing inside of this storm right here. But I have a feeling this is going to fade away a little bit more. But Huntsville, it's all clear there. The storm's due to the north of you. And again, there's no lightning going on. So there could be a rush of some gusty winds moving into Holly Pond as this storm is maybe collapsing. So that's one other thing to worry about, and that may knock some trees down too. So tornado warning continues until 8:30. We've got 10 more minutes on this tornado warning. They're probably going to allow this to expire based on what I'm looking at on the radar. And I'm going to switch over to the next radar, the intensity here, and put this into motion. You kind of see.
Brad, we just heard from Phyllis Little. Phyllis Little, we heard from her, Common County EMA. No severe damage. Trees down. That's it so far in Coleman County.
Yeah, you can see how it's kind of splitting up here too. You can see how we have a storm and then it's just. So I think they're going to let this one go. If you're in Arab, some gusty winds coming through here, but I do think the tornado warning is going to be let go. But we're going to stay until they decide. Okay, and then go from there. Back to our First Alert Live Doppler radar on First Alert 2. And we're seeing the same thing. It just looks like it is falling apart. If you see anything otherwise, Eric, let me know.
We're on the same page here.
So we've got this red line, which is the most likely track that old circulation is going to go, and that's the most likely area for some gusty winds. But I really don't think this is going to hold together for you in Arab. Guntersville, I don't think it's going to make it there either. So it's probably falling apart as we speak. So what I'm going to do here is, while we wait for that warning to go down, I'm going to summarize what's going on flood-wise, and then we're going to get over to Liz Hurley and see what kind of damage reports we may have coming in as these flooding, as far as that goes. So again, fire department rescue report, wind damage, tree down on Highway 69, and that's in northwestern Colony. So again, that's that area. Where Elk River right now is at 23. This is our really big, more life-threatening threat, to be honest with you tonight. Boy. And we don't always think of flash flooding as life-threatening, but it is. In fact, more people die from flooding each year than tornadoes, that's for sure. Here's the Elk River, and this is different than flash flooding. This is river flooding. This is that slow, painful rise in the river if you live along the river. And if you live along the river, chances are you're taking action. Or if you know someone, they're taking action. Ask them if they need some help over the next few days. Because trying to get your stuff out of your house when you're evacuated, it can be a daunting task. So here's what's going on the Elk River. It's at 23 feet now. At 23 and a half feet, 23.5 feet to be exact, the Tennessee Highway 273 is covered. At 26 feet, several businesses and homes are underwater. There are some homes that do have water in them now, and that is expected to crest tomorrow morning at 25 feet. The good news is the overall heavy rain trend is going to be shifting out of here after 10 o'clock tonight. Elk River at Prospect, Tennessee, pay attention to this, 29.3 feet now and rising. The flood stage is at 22 feet. It's expected to crest at 32 feet. This is going to be rising even more Sunday afternoon at 32 feet, which is where it's forecast to go. And if anything, the river forecasts have been off by at least a half a foot over the past few days. At 32 feet, extensive flooding will occur in southeast Giles County and would reach several homes near Elkton and near Ardmore. And this goes down into Limestone County, so it will not get any better down there either. The Tennessee River at Florence, this is the one that's going to be a record flood here. It's going to approach record levels. And the record is 1897, I believe. 32.5 feet. So it's at 28.41 and rising. It's probably a little higher than that right now, last we checked. Major flooding, 30.33-foot crest Sunday. Widespread flooding of industries near the river. That has already been happening in some local businesses. Whitesburg, Tennessee River. Again, pay attention. It's been a long time since we've had this high of water on the Tennessee River from Whitesburg all the way to Pickwick Lake. 20.79 inches now and rising. Flood stage is 17 feet. It's going to go to 24, almost 25 feet here Monday. So this won't even crest until Monday at 24 feet, about a foot less than what they're forecasting, the River Forecast Center. Thousands of acres are flooded on both sides of the river. A lot of times we talk about the Tennessee River, and it's the Morgan County side here near the Whitesburg that gets flooded. It's both sides. Homes are completely underwater and roads flooded. Access problems will develop on Redstone Arsenal from the backwater flooding. The Flint River, right now it's at 19.45. It's probably about a half a foot higher than when we made this graphic an hour ago, just because of all the heavy rain. Flood stage is at 17 feet, 21.5-foot crest early. Actually, that's going to be tomorrow morning now. They originally thought it was going to crest this morning. That didn't happen. Big Dance Creek, this is another one that's a big problem in Cortland. It's at 21 feet and rising now. 23-foot crest. Excuse me, 28 foot would be a disaster. It's bad enough though. 23-foot crest at 20 feet. Water's approaching homes south of downtown. Water reaches the old Highway 21 bridge too, and we had that happen yesterday. Quick look at our first alert live Doppler radar. Again, storm track towards Summit, Joppa, Arab, Union Grove, and this storm continues to show signs of
they dropped the warning there.
And they are expiring the warning here at the bottom of the hour. Liz, do you want to summarize? And we'll let you take us out here and get people back to their regular scheduled program. We'll be back at 10.
You've hit it. From Fayetteville to Florence, Lacey Spring, Paint Rock River residents there are now bracing for high waters. The Elk River, of course, is at an above flood stage right now. TVA dumping 8 million gallons of water a minute down from Timms Ford all the way to Limestone County. So those residents there in Fayetteville, 2 shelters are open. They are taking pets in the Lincoln County area. So do note that. That is a change from earlier. Please, if you need to evacuate, do so and get to those 2 shelters. We have them online. Florence, a mile and a half of Highway 20 is closed there near O'Neill Bridge. Keep your eyes open in Lacey Springs, southern Madison County, from New Hope all the way to Highway 231 South. That lower level area from New Hope, the one road that is there is now closed tonight. Paint Rock River residents there poised to evacuate should they need to do that. We now have an interview now with Marshall County EMA Director Anita Mack Burnett. We talked to her about an hour ago. Anita, do you have an update for us for those people living in the Paint Rock area?
Yes, Liz. Right now, we're still in good shape. Continuing to monitor over the next couple of hours, I think, is going to be what we're really going to need to pay attention to. The rainfall overall has been very light to moderate. Just a few couple of heavy pockets of more moderate to heavy rain, and that's kind of moved out. So we're very fortunate about the amount of rainfall that we've seen here in the past hour. And so that's making things look a little better for us. Our creeks are rising. The runoff has started. So we're monitoring all the different bridges here in Marshall County because we have a lot of creeks and streams that are now filling up. But we're monitoring those, and everything seems to be pretty good at the moment. And for the folks in Paint Rock River Valley there, we're watching that very closely. So right now we're still holding with not a lot of rise, and we're looking forward to the next couple of hours here and see what we need to do.
Well, you were waiting to see what was coming at you from Coleman County, and that Anita, you kept it right there at the county line. It stopped. It has dissolved. So that was good. Good forces there coming from Marshall County. So at least you're holding steady, and that is good. Marshall County. Thanks for being with us. Do stay tuned, though, if you do have to make those water evacuations along the Paint Rock River.
And we'll certainly pass that along to you. We appreciate the help. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Tonight is the night we become public servants, so let us be your voice. We've been on the air for hours and hours now, so we're going to take a very quick break. Should we need to pop back in on air, we will do so. Stay tuned to WAFF.com, WAFF on air and online and on social media. Should you need to have any questions regarding your status and the weather situation where you live. Again, I'm Liz Hurley reporting live right here at WAFF 48. We'll see you in a bit.
Sometimes life can be hectic, and we forget some in our community struggle to afford basic necessities. Spill Utilities is a not-for-profit organization created to efficiently serve our community. Our Project Share initiative helps build during extreme temperature months and makes energy-reducing improvements to homes. Donate online or include a tax-deductible contribution with your monthly payment. Your help is making our community more efficient for everyone.
Okay. Let's see. Alright. Okay, this is... Alright. Alright. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do right now. I'm going... unless any other tornado warnings or any other warnings come out, I'll... if there's more of them coming up, I'll get right back on here and discuss them. But for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and end this video right now. And I'll probably do another one. I'm going to check the time right now. It is 8:32. Okay. I guess I'll probably do one about 9 o'clock, maybe do it for 30 minutes, perhaps. That's just a guesstimate at this point. Or no, maybe till 9:45. Do it 9 o'clock and end it about 9:45. Something like that. Just to give you an update on everything. But until then, go end this video. Be safe out there. Do not get on the roads if you don't have any. If you don't have to travel tonight, stay off the roads. Please stay off the roads. If you have to travel, take it slow and use extreme caution, because there's roads that are flooded. In fact, heard from Brother Greg Beasley, who's the pastor at Valley Grove Baptist Church. They're not having the services tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock or 10:30 because of the flooding. And which I'd probably been a nervous wreck if they had them in the morning, because of what I saw this morning on the way to work, which was hard for me to look at personally. But they may have the services tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's the situation right now. There are no more tornado warnings at this time. But if that changes, I'll let you know, and I'll get right back on here. But be safe. Like I said, I'll probably do another video about 9 o'clock. And then end at about 9:45 to give you all an update. Till then, have a good night. Be safe. Don't get on the roads if you don't have to. But if you do have to get on the roads, be safe.